Hello, Team Hearth League. Welcome to the Boomsday Project card review stream. I am Force of Will, and I am joined by Ironfire. Ironfire, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing pretty great.
Excellent.
Ready to review some cards.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely ready to review this set. It looks like an amazing set.
Mm-hmm.
And also, we are joined by Hockey Boys. Hockey, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, let's get started. We have 135 some odd cards to go through here.
Something like that.
Something like that, like 130
Mm-hmm.
something. So, and we're gonna kick this thing off with Druid, and we're actually gonna go by mana cost order essentially. So we'll start with one, and we'll move all the way up to the most expensive cards available. And we're gonna start off with one of the earliest cards revealed with Biology Project. This 1 mana. Each player gains 2 mana crystals. Ironfire, this seems like an insanely strong card for Druid specifically. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'm going to give this an easy 4. For a couple reasons. These are full mana crystals. So I've heard a bunch of people say, like, oh, it's terrible to give your opponent mana. And, like, that can be true in some matchups, but in some matchups it isn't. If it is terrible to give your opponent mana, don't keep this in your mulligan. Don't play it on turn 1, and it's an innervate in the late game. It gives you a mana crystal, and you don't give them anything. But if you have other ramp in your hand, this can get you to that faster. This can get you, Nourish on turn 2, Wild Growth on turn 1 without the coin. Just all sorts of crazy busted things. So I'm totally saying this is a...
All right.
We should start, by the way, I feel like, by explaining the rating system.
Yeah, correct. So before we start throwing out numbers, so we are going to be ranking these on a 4-point scale. 1 is going to be they're never going to see play. There's no reason for them. You really should not be including these cards in your decks. 2 is for some potential, even if it's not current potential, but maybe something down the road in the next few expansions that might make this card see some sort of play. 3 is are probably going to see play. They're gonna be core cards to some decks that are going to be really, really good. And 4 is just our straight up busted. So we let out with a 4 here, basically with Biology Project.
Mm-hmm.
Just cards that are gonna potentially warp the format and be things that everybody's gonna be playing and probably get tired of before all is said and done because of their power level. So, all right. So I'm first gonna open up with the 4. Hockey, what's your thoughts on this card?
Yeah, I think this card sucks. You spend 1 mana to give your opponent a swing turn, and even in the later stages of the game, it's an innervate, and innervate itself isn't a particularly strong card. And I just think against almost every deck, it's just not worthwhile playing, because against control, you're ramping them quicker up to 10 when you want to have the most amount of turns at 10 mana when they don't, because that's when you get the greatest advantage. Against a mid-range deck like Recruit Hunter, you're making them skip their weakest turns, and their turns 8, 9, 10 are a lot stronger than the ones that you're doing. And I think it's okay against aggro, because you're giving them a swing turn, and if you can't clear a Flappy Bird on turn 1, then you're kind of screwed. But other than that, you're getting to your stronger cards faster than they are. So I'm gonna give it a 2.
All right. It's I fall definitely more in line with Ironfire on this one. I think this is a card that you're gonna want to play pretty much any time. They're gonna be, there's gonna be a lot of strong cards, and if any class can take advantage of getting 2 mana quicker than any other class in Hearthstone, it's Druid. Druid has some big things they always want to play, and I think most of the time giving your opponent 2 mana crystals. Now, if this was 2 empty mana crystals, this would not be good. But since you're giving 2 crystals that you can use immediately, I think this favors the Druid in almost every instance. So I'm actually going to go with a 4 on this as well. I think this is a busted card that's going to see a pretty good amount of play. So let's go to the second card. And Ironfire, why don't you tell us about this card here? Floop's Glorious Gloop.
Floop's Glorious Goop. So this is the Druid Legendary spell. It is 1 mana, and it reads, whenever a minion dies this turn, gain 1 mana crystal this turn only. So with this sort of card, what you'd want to plan to do with it is you play it for 1 mana, you trade a bunch of stuff on the board, or maybe you like swipe away a paladin board, get a whole bunch of mana, and then have some sort of power turn. You swipe away a paladin board, get a bunch of temporary mana, play living mana, all of that mana turns into treants, and you're good to go. So I know a lot of people think this card is extremely strong, but I feel like it's too situational. Like against control, this you don't want to kill your own minions, and even right now, the whole point of Token Druid is that you create all these minions that are sticky, and your opponent has to remove them in 1 turn, or else you do a whole bunch of damage to them. So I'm going to give this a 2. Whoops, I'm doing this in the wrong place. Yeah, I'm giving this card a 2 because I don't think it's actually that strong. I think it's too situational and is just a dead card in a lot of matchups.
Yeah, 3 minions. 3 minions have to die for this to be better than Innervate.
Exactly.
And like being able to kill your opponent's minions is worth something. It lets you go like floop swipe, which will probably kill 3 people, and then do the second swipe after the Malygos has been played with the floop. So like it's okay, but like I don't think it's as strong as people think it is, because you're not gonna get you're probably not gonna get 10 mana crystals just in like UI really early, and like you were already playing Wild Growth and Nourish to play the UI early in your powerful cards. I think I think it might see play in like a token Druid, but that's like very fringe and it could probably get cut. Probably also gonna give it a 2.
Yeah, so the power level is there, but actually when Ironfire, when you're reading this, I originally thought this said when a friendly minion dies. So this is when any minion dies, gain 1 mana crystal this turn only. But without having the effect of gaining actual mana crystals to hold on to, I think this is a situational card at best. Now, of course, there's going to be some crazy story you're going to hear about, like, oh, someone traded in all their things, or that situation where you swipe, kill 4 creatures, and then do something insane with it. But I don't think that I'm with y'all on this one. I think this is a 2. Honestly, 2 probably borderline 1. So, but we're gonna get a 2 just to recognize that it is a powerful effect, but it's not anything that's insane, I don't think.
Yep. So let's move on to the next one, Dendrologist. You want to start off with this one, Hockey?
Yeah, so it's a 2 mana minion, 2/3, and as a Battlecry, if you control a treant, discover a spell. And the power level of this card really depends on how strong treants are. Like if the treant deck is really, really powerful, then this card's probably good. But if it doesn't see play, then this card doesn't see play. And even if a treant deck is good, I don't think this card is like powerful enough to be very strong in it, and it'd probably be like a 26th, 27th, 28th card that you would put in the deck. So I'm going to give it a 1 because I think the treants deck is going to suck.
All right. I believe with this one, I mean, there are decks that are already playing treants, Token Druid. And, discover a spell, whenever you're dealing with discover effects, you do have the chance to get class cards more often. So, I mean, I guess this could potentially be number 3 for number 3 UI here. But I think most of the time when you do your treants, you're wanting to kill your opponent, not play 2 mana to get a spell. Although I guess you could potentially get something like Savage Roar off of this. I'm going to go a little bit higher. I think this is a 2. I think this is a situational card, but I don't think this is going to be like format warping, and I definitely don't think this is going to be in every single deck that has treants like a token. So I think it's a 2. There's something there, but not enough to push it.
Yeah, I mean, if this were a 2 mana 2/3 without the conditional that discovered a spell, that would be incredibly great. Like that would be a 4 or 5. Sorry, on this scale, it would be a 4. I think like that's a really good card. The conditional is really hard to meet though, but I can't imagine giving this a 1 just because the effect is so strong. Discovering a Druid spell, and like Druid spells are some of the most powerful spells in the game. So I'm going to give this a 2. I think if we saw like an enchanted Raven in the future, that's instead of a Raven, it's a treant, just a 1 mana 2/2 treant, this card would start seeing play almost immediately. So not this expansion, but into the future.
All right, fair. Moving on,
Fair.
we have a 3-mana spell, Landscaping, and it summons 2/2/2 treants.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I sort of like this card. It's 3 mana for a 4/4, split across 2 bodies, at the very least, and it has a relevant creature type with treant. I can see this fitting into a token druid pretty easily. And so I think I'm gonna give this a 3. I think this is a pretty solid 3 that could easily fit into an existing deck right now. So, Ironfire, what's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna just give this one a 2. I feel like Druid usually just skips through turn 3 with like Wild Growth and soon to be Biology Project. I just don't think like it does a decent amount of things for its mana, but you can't like abuse it. Like it has some treant synergy, but I don't think enough to make it too great. So I'm gonna say it has potential, but
Yeah, when you're curving out well, there's not really a good turn to drop it. Like you want to be dropping this on turn 3, because after that it's like not that strong. But you're skipping 3, you're going 2 into 4, and then just playing this with 4 mana and then wasting 1 mana isn't that powerful. And then the next turn you're hitting Nourish on 5 to ramp into 8, and at that point you want to be playing one of your big guys like Lich King or Malfurion. So I think this is like, I think it's a strong card, and because it lets you play minions for cheap without ruining the Oaken summons, but I don't think that like it's more powerful than the 30 cards that Druid's already going to play, so I'm going to give it a 2.
All right, excellent.
all right.
All right. So we have our class legendary, non-legendary spell coming up next, and this is Flubinius Floop, 4 mana, 3/4. While in your hand, this is a 3/4 copy of the last minion you played. Ironfire, what's your thoughts on this one?
I mean, this is obviously a 4. Everyone's talked about this for ages, and we all know it's crazy. It's good with not just Malygos, not just Togwaggle, not just Azalina, not just Spiteful Summoner, but Arcane Tyrant for 0 mana if you're against aggro, or Lich King, or just literally everything. It's so good. Everyone's heard how good this card is, so that's all I'm going to say.
All right. Hockey?
Yeah, this easily goes into every Druid deck that's not token Druid. This is an easy 4.
Yep. And I think y'all basically have covered this one. I think this is easy 4 here. Yeah, there's going to be so many applications to this card. It's sort of crazy. So,
yeah. Some of my Rag and Sylvanas teams, we all like rated these cards, and we rated them on a 1 to 5 scale, and this one has an average score of 5.6 because Starlax gave it an 11. Everyone else gave it a 5.
Good lord! All right. thankfully, we're not going above 11 or going above 4 here. But oh my god! So okay. So since we all gave it 4, do you think this is going to be a card that's potentially going to see a nerf down the line? You know, when they do their first nerf patch after expansion goes live, is this one of those cards you think that could see it?
I see Malygos getting a nerf before this, or some other tool, something that's not legendary.
Sure.
So we don't get all our dust back. Everyone's going to craft this. Everyone's going to need to use this, and I don't think they want to get rid of it.
Yeah, I think this is probably the safest day 1 craft in a while.
For sure.
It's also really slow though. So like if the meta's all super fast and it's all Murloc Paladin, then this card's gonna suck and it's gonna be the new test and we're gonna look really dumb. That's all I'm gonna say.
Could be, yeah, because last Witchwood we all said Tess is a 4.
We all give Tess a 4.
That.
I convinced them that it was the new N'Zoth and I was wrong.
Yeah.
I see.
All right. So next card is Ironfire, why don't you tell us about Juicy Psych Melon?
Yeah, Juicy Psych Melon is the cheaper sprint that tutors that everyone keeps talking about. It's a 4 mana card, 4 mana spell that reads, draw a 7, 8, 9, and 10 cost minion from your deck. So Hockey Boys, I'm interested to hear what you have to say about this one.
Everyone on like Reddit and where I've been seeing has said that this card's like insane and it's gonna like break the meta, and I don't think it's overly powerful. Like I think it probably like might see play in like Malygos Druid as a 1 of, but the like drawing a 7, 8, 9 and 10 costs is more of a restriction than like a benefit to the card, because like you don't really want to be playing 10 cost minions, and you're not always drawing Malygos because you also have Alexstrasza in the deck, and also the card is really slow. I'm probably going to give it a 2. Like, I don't think it's going to be crazy good, but I think it's going to be played as a 1 of.
Yeah, I have to kind of disagree with this one, I think. This is 4 mana, tutor for 4 very specific cards in your deck. Now, yes, you do have the option, the potential to draw the cards before you play this, so that is something there. But it thins your deck, it tutors for very specific cards and everything else with that. This is actually on the short list of cards that are probably going to get a slight mana cost increase before all is said and done. And so I think this is a 4. I think this is going to be something that's, it's going to offer consistency to a few decks that shouldn't have that kind of consistency in the first place. So,
like, if you draw one of your big minions, and this is a 4 mana, draw 2 cards, and it's not like drawing the specific minions at high cost is worse than drawing like just normal cards in general. So like, do you really want to be playing a 4 mana draw 2? Like a 4 mana draw 3, it's pretty good. But I think draw 2 is not
Druid
that great.
routinely plays 5 mana draw 3. So I mean,
well, like they're playing that for the mana ramp though.
Generally, but I mean, yeah, they can't use it for 3 cards though. So I mean,
so it's really hard for me to imagine playing this card and playing Ultimate Infestation in the same deck, especially like double Ultimate Infestation. Just because before turn 10, you want to like dump most of your hand to play Ultimate Infestation, and if you're drawing all your expensive minions, and maybe they're combo minions like that you want to use with Floop, then you just have to hold on to them, and you can't actually get them out of your hand before you play UI. So I just don't really see this going in too many decks right now. I know there are some weird combos with potentially Dream Petal Florist and what's the card from the Witchwood? Dollmaster Dorian. So you can play like Dollmaster Dorian and then play this card, and you get 4 1/1s on the board of the enormous cards you just drew, and they do all of their effects, and maybe Dream Petal Florist discounts those expensive cards in your hand, and et cetera, et cetera. So I definitely think it has a lot of potential, but I don't think this is what Druid needs right now. It already has a ton of card draw with Branching Paths and Nourish and UI. And until those rotate, I don't see it being a staple in any decks unless they're abusing the fact that they're drawing expensive minions specifically, like with Dollmaster Dorian.
It could be in Togwaggle because they just want all the card draw.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but with Togwaggle, though, you have tons of hand size issues already with Togwaggle Druid. I don't know if you guys have played it very much, but like you are constantly having to just throw away spells. Like, oh good, they played a minion, I can get rid of this spell stone. Like you don't even care if the minion dies or anything like that. You're just throwing spells out of your hand to try to empty it. So I don't think more card draw is just going to make their lives harder, I think, instead of easier.
Well, like if you have the combo pieces like Togwaggle, Azalina, and then Floop with the Innervate, then you don't really care about discarding cards or milling cards, right? Like once you have the combo pieces, you just want to have a small deck so you can give them that deck.
Yeah, but then if that deck has armor gain and stuff like that, like you don't want to be giving him a deck, or with your Malfurion or something like that. Like there's too much stuff you need to draw, and I just don't see it being good in that deck at the moment. But I could be wrong.
All right. So we are to Tending Torn. So Haki, do you want to tell us about Tending Torn?
It's a 6 mana minion. It has 3 attack and 4 health, and it reads: choose 1, give your other minions +1/+1, or summon 2 2/2 tree ants. And
so,
like, I think this is the definition of a card that's like good, but it's not good enough to see constructed play. If you add up the stats with the tree ants, it's a 7/8 for 6, and that's pretty good. But when you split it up between different bodies, it's much weaker.
So is this a 1, you're saying?
Yeah, this is a 1. It's not going to see play because other Druid cards are just better.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. It's a 3/4. which is something you wouldn't play for 3 mana. And then it's either a Power of the Wild, which is a 2 mana card, or it's Summon 2/2 Treants, which is Landscaping. That's a 3 mana card. So it's not like a good deal for its mana cost. It's like playing multiple bad cards in one card with a little bit of flexibility, but I'm also going to give this a 1.
If Fandral Staghound was still in the format, this probably would be better, but I have to agree, unfortunately, I think this is a 1. Maybe it might see some potential in Wild, but since we don't really do Wild yet, then I don't see this card being routinely played.
Wild has way too many busted cards for this to see play.
Yeah, no, exactly. As I say, we already have at least 2 that like most of us say 4 on, and then Juicy Psych Melon is one that's a little contentious between us, but so next card on the list is Dream Petal Florist, and this is a 7 mana 4/4, so it has to have some sort of good effect on this, and the effect I think this may be one of those cards that it's a combo enabler. If you can pull a combo together with this, can do that. You have Big Druid that already is playing, double the end of turn effects, so you could actually reduce 2 random minions by 7 potentially with this card, and it fits the 10 mana curve perfectly. This is somewhere between a 2 and a 3, and I'm leaning more towards the 3. I think this is just a good card based on the effect that it has. So, Ironfire, what's your thoughts on this one?
So this is obviously like reducing the cost of something by 7 is an absurdly strong effect that can do some busted things. So I can't possibly ever give this a 1, but I also don't see any totally busted combos you can do with it yet with the cards that are in the pool. I think it's just a little too slow. Paying 7 mana for a 4/4, usually a pretty bad play. And I think Floop does basically everything you would want this to do, like reducing the cost of Malygos and big things like that, better than this card does it. So I'm going to give it a 2. Because maybe it'll see play in the future, but I'm not right now with the current card pool, I don't think.
This card feels like reducing a minion by 7 is just a random number they pulled and something you would get off of a custom Hearthstone fan site. I think it's strong. I don't think it's meta breaking or meta warping, but I think like getting a Lich King costing 1 lets you combo it with everything. Like the Death Knight, you drop this on 7, then you can drop the Death Knight and Lich King the next turn. It reduces Malygos to 2 mana, and a 2 mana Malygos is insane, and that's just like an OTK right away.
But in that scenario, you could just drop your Death Knight on 7 and your Lich King on 8 without playing this card in the middle.
Yeah, I guess so. I think it's worth it because it does the Malygos combo a turn earlier than with Floop. Especially since Floop by itself is not an OTK with Malygos. Like Malygos at 2 mana with double swipe, double Moonfire's 30 damage. Or 31 damage.
Sure.
Where, like, if you drop Malygos double Moonfire, then all you have is Floop, swipe, hero power if nothing's... if nothing else is discounted. And that's not enough to kill your opponent. So I think it's worth it to have the redundant effect on both.
All right.
Excellent. All right.
What score are you giving this?
Oh, I'm giving it a 3.
Gotcha. Cool.
All right. So we are now to Gloop Sprayer. So, Ironfire, why don't you tell us about Gloop Sprayer?
Gloop Sprayer is an 8 mana 4/4, so it better have a great effect. Its Battlecry is summon a copy of each adjacent minion. So the coolest combo I've heard of with this would be to play it with the Mulch Muncher. So you play 2 0-mana Mulch Munchers down, drop a Gloop Sprayer, and now you have 4 8/8s with Rush on the same turn. That is like the dream.
I mean, it's a little magical Christmas land, but yeah, it's
Yeah, but at that point, you could just be playing Double Faceless Manipulator, and you can still get to, it's more flexible. So I don't think this will ever see play. I'm gonna give this a 1. Yeah. Sorry, I keep clicking away to a different tab and then typing in the tab. But I'm giving this a 1. Hockey, what do you think?
Yeah, it's way too expensive for what it costs. It's good when it's 1 mana after getting discounted by Florist, but other than that, it's kind of really bad. I'm gonna give it a 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is textbook 1. The effect is strong, but the cost is way too much, in my opinion. So,
yeah,
I don't see this seeing play, especially since we already have a whole bunch of things that we've already talked about that reduce the cost of stuff anyway. So, and copy stuff and everything else, I just don't see it. So we're to the final Druid card, and I have a feeling this one may be contentious from some of our earlier discussions.
I think so.
Mulch Muncher, 10 mana. Oh, sorry, Hockey, why don't you tell us about this one?
It's a 10 mana 8/8 mech. It's not a giant for some reason, even though it should be called a giant. It has rush, and it costs 1 less for each friendly treant that died this game. So it's like Thing from Below, where it doesn't matter if it's in your hand in your deck, it still gets discounted. But I think this is really bad because treants are really bad. So I'm going to give it a 1.
Okay, yeah. Treants by themselves are bad, but if you had some effect that, I don't know, allows you to make 7 wisp, and then, when they die, you create 7 treants, and if those 7 treants die, then you just turn a 8/8 rush into a 3 mana 8/8 rush. I don't think this is. Don't get me wrong. I don't think this is meta warping, but it already could potentially fit into a deck that already exists, and that's why I think Mulch Muncher is a 3. It's like it could fit as kind of a big end to to Token Druid, and it also gets rid of some of those annoying taunts that sometimes come up that you have to get rid of. So with the rush, so I think this is a solid 3 in a Token Druid deck.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I think you can run just this in Token Druid right now, and it would be very strong and see play. Or you could modify Token Druid, and I've seen this already with some lists, to play Living Mana, which creates treants, and you could maybe fit Landscaping into some deck like this, and pretty consistently get this down to 0. One of the hardest things for any class to do is to remove a bunch of small minions and a big minion or 2. And this now gives Token Druid that versatility. Like, it can get tiny wisps, 2 enormous 8/8s, all with Death Rattle on the field. How does anyone deal with that? I think this
Psychic Scream.
Well, yes. How does any good class deal with that? No.
What are you cutting from Token Druid for this? Like Arcane Tyrants? Like, because they have like 29 cards that are fairly core, I think.
Oh yeah, I think the Arcane Tyrants are the easy cut here, at least in my opinion, because you're trading a 0 mana 5/5 for the potential for a 0 mana 8/8 with rush.
I mean, literally, some Token Druids right now run Cenarius. They find room to fit Cenarius. Of course, they can find room to fit a Mulch Muncher. I think this is.
When I see lists, I see 29 like core cards, and then that one flex card that's like a Cenarius or sometimes Innervate. Like, you're not cutting the Oaken Summons package. Are you cutting like Branching Paths or Savage Roar?
No, you can't cut those. That's your finisher.
I just don't see what you're cutting for this, unless it's Tyrants. But like,
I think it has to be the Tyrants. You're trading 1 0 mana cost thing for another 0 mana cost thing that's bigger and has rush.
And then like you have to cut something for Living Mana if you're doing it. Like, I just don't think there's enough room for this to see play or treants to even fit in Token Druid.
Could be right. Maybe you could cut the Oaken Summons package.
Maybe you do, and maybe Landscaping's just good enough to cover it.
Yeah.
Or maybe you cut Wild Growth, then you play the Gloop.
That would be very interesting.
Yeah.
In any case, I think it's gonna. This is like a reason to play the treant decks. This is the biggest. It's a 0 mana 8/8s have always been strong, and a 0 mana 8/8 with rush is so enticing that people are going to build decks around this card. That is how powerful I think it is. Mm-hmm. So, not sure if it sees play this meta even, but
it will one day.
Oh yeah, one day you're going to get hit with a mulch muncher and you're going to be like, man, I gave that a 1. I feel like an idiot. That's going to happen.
Okay.
So that wraps up our Druid cards. Overall, I think we averaged a 2.3, so somewhere between feasible and definitely playable. So overall, but there are a couple of really strong cards in this. Floop and Biology Project are both really, really strong. So, all right, so let's move on to the Hunter class, and we are going to start off with Secret Plan. It's a 1 mana, discover a secret. So, we'll go reverse order this time. Hockey, what are your thoughts on Secret Plan?
Originally I thought it was really strong because I just thought you just cut 2 of the more situational secrets in Spell Hunter, and then you just discover the spell you want for the situation. But do you guys know how many secrets there are in Hunter right now in Standard?
I guess I don't.
Probably
like
6.
There's 8.
There are 8. Okay.
So most of the time, and 2 of them are kind of completely useless in Spell Hunter, Snake Trap and Venomous Track, because you don't run that many minions. So at that point, I think I'd rather just have the consistency of having something like Freezing Trap or Explosive Trap rather than having the off chance that I get Snipe when I need it. So I'm going to give this a 1 because I'd rather just play the actual secret instead of discovering it. If there was less secrets, then I think I would play this over Explosive Trap. But when the options are very limiting.
All right. Ironfire, what's your thoughts on Secret Plan?
Yeah, I'm going to give this a 3. I think this... I don't think any of those secrets you listed off are that bad. Even Snake Trap has seen play, has been put in standard decks before, and Venom Trap even. I know mid-range Hunter, Hunter Ace's mid-range Hunter builds for some of these tournament-winning lineups has run. I don't remember the exact secret package, but I've seen mid-range Hunters run both of those secrets. So yeah, I think the flexibility is very good. Sometimes in some matchups, Explosive Traps is just the nuts. It's exactly what you want. And in other matchups, it's horrible. You can never use Explosive Trap. So having that flexibility and a turn 1 play in Spell Hunter, which is pretty rare to have,
yeah,
I think is really strong.
Yep, I completely agree with you. It's if this was just add a random secret to your hand, I think I would be closer to Hockey on this. But this is discover a secret, so you're gonna get a choice of 3 secrets, so you don't have to pick the ones that are worse for your situation. So, and I think this does get right into a Secret Hunter list. I think this is a 3, and plus you want something early that if you do have your Spellstone, you can power it up, and this is something that just facilitates powering up your Spellstone. So, yeah, I think this is definitely a 3. All right, so now we are to Cybertek chip. So, Ironfire, give us about Cybertek chip.
I think Cybertek chip is an easy one. Very bad. We never saw, what was it, Invest was 3 mana with a very similar effect. And there are a lot of pretty garbage mechs. So, I don't see this ever seeing play. Rexar is just a better value generator.
All right, and just so everybody knows, Cybertek chip is give your minions death rattle at a random into your hand. So
sorry, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was supposed to read one.
Okay, so one from you. I tend to agree. I think random effects over discover is generally not good. And so I could see something weird the Call the Hounds followed by this. Add 4 or 5 mechs to your hand. Sure, it's a dream situation, but I think it's going to be a lot worse in most circumstances. So I'm with you on the 1 here.
Yeah, the flavor text of this card's the best part. The flavor text is, it goes great with Cyber Salsa.
Nice.
Great.
So yeah, easy one.
Easy one, yep. All right, Fireworks Tech. So this is Battlecry. Give a friendly mech +1/+1. If it has a death rattle, trigger it.
It's also a 2 mana 2/1.
It is a 2 mana 2/1. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
2 mana 2/1 is a little weak overall, but the effect is there. I think we already have Hunter decks that play death rattle effects. And I could definitely see this fitting into that. It's definitely not a turn 2 play, but I think this has somewhere between 2 and 3, and I'm leaning more towards the 3 on this one since there are decks that already rely on using death rattles like this. So
it's only mechs that it triggers the death rattle for, though.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay, sorry. Oh, wow, that's a 1. Why does everybody have this as a 4.5 on Hearthstone top decks? It's like, sorry, I should have read the card. Yeah, no, this is a 1. Like one particular class doing this. Yeah, no.
Oh, Hockey, I want to hear what you think about this.
I'm very on the fence on this one. Like, the best case scenario is when you drop it after the Mecharoo, the new 1/1 mech, possessed villager. It's like insane. And like if you drop, like, mechs just don't have great death rattles other than the bombs, and like it's more of a mid-range play. Like I think it's okay. Like it's probably not going to see play though, so I'm going to give it a 1. Like the 2/2/1 with the conditional effect is really poor. Like we already have a 2/2/1 that gives a friendly minion +1/+1, and that card's terrible. And like it never sees play, so I don't think it's going to see play. I don't think triggering a mech's death rattle is worth it.
Boy, I was between a 3 and a 4 on this card. You guys have made me come down to a 3, I guess, but I am hyped for this. This not only does this trigger the Goblin bombs, which I think you could even just play vanilla in a bomb deck. It triggers Mecharoo. It triggers the new Spider Bomb. You just destroy a random enemy minion and still have a minion in play like that's getting buffed. The 1/1 charges face. Like this seems like a really strong card to me. If you hit a mech with it, it's a 2-mana 3/2 stats wise, which is decent. And if you hit a death rattle with it, it's absurd. There are some really strong death rattles in this set for mechs. So I'm very hyped on this card.
I just hate the worst case scenario is so bad. I think I just don't like it for that reason.
Hold it in your hand, like you played it in your hand.
Like Hunter wants to be playing its stuff though.
Maybe we don't know what these Hunter decks are going to look like.
Sure. I mean, I guess there's definitely potential for it, but right now, I mean, just looking solely based on the Hunter class, there are 2 mechs. 2. That's it. And one has a death rattle and the other does not.
Yeah, but a bunch of the neutral ones have good death rattle.
Yeah, there's some good neutral death
and
rattles.
And the legendary summons mix with death rattles as well.
All right. So, that's actually probably been the most contentious one yet on this one here. So let's move to the next card real quick. So Bomb Toss. So Hockey, tell us about Bomb Toss.
It's a 2-mana spell. It deals 2 damage and it summons a 0/2 Goblin Bomb. And the Goblin Bomb is a 0/2 mech with death rattle. Deal 2 damage to the enemy minion. Enemy hero. And I think this card's pretty strong. If you're building a mech hunter deck, then this is just kind of it's an arcane shot that also gives you a canvas for other mechanic effects, and mechanic effects start becoming a thing on turn 3 mainly, and then kind of turn 2 with poisonous. But curving this into the 3-mana spider bomb that we already saw, they'll give it +2/+2, and then a death rattle of kill something is really strong. So I'm gonna give it a 3.
All right. Ironfire?
Yeah, I'm just so hyped for Hunter as a class. This is getting a 4 for sure from me. Dealing 2 damage for 2 mana. This is damage that can go face or at minions. So like comparing this to Flanking Strike. Okay, maybe that's a bad comparison, but like 2 damage for 2 mana is already not bad, and I think Goblin Bombs are going to be really, really strong for a lot of reasons. So first of all, if your opponent tries to clear your board, it makes it where they don't want to do wide board clears on your board. So if you go wide and they have to do some board clear on that, they just take a ton of face damage. You have all this death rattle synergy where you can, blow them up without killing them, and you have all this magnetic synergy where you can stick something poisonous to it or stick something that gives it a death rattle that kills minions with it. Like, I'm hyped for Bomb Mech Hunter, and I think this card is one of the strongest ones we've seen.
Yeah, it's a strong card. I'm definitely not ready to go to 4, but I think this is a solid 3. It's damage. It can go face, as you mentioned. It's not restricted to just a minion. And so really, I mean, it's 2 mana, eventually deal 4. It's just it just matters whether you aim the first 2 damage at a minion or you aim at their face. But yeah, I think this is a strong card. So yeah, I think this is 3.
By the way, vanilla 2 mana for 3 damage cards have seen play in standard and been considered extremely strong and busted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like consistently. Frostbolt, Dark
Quick Shot.
Bomb,
Quick Shot.
Quick Shot. Yeah. All of them crazy strong. This does even more than that, I think. I think a Goblin Bomb is worth 1 mana for sure. It's an easy 1 mana. Anyway.
All right. So we're to
Venomizer.
Yeah, let's go to Venomizer. So, yeah, Ironfire, why don't you tell us about Venomizer?
Oh boy, I'm pumped for this one too. It's a 2 mana 2/2 mech, which is already not too bad. It has magnetic. Ooh, that's sounding pretty good. You get a 2/2 buff for 2. It's like a mini Blessing of Kings. And it has poisonous. Oh my gosh, that's so strong. I am super hyped for this card as well. I'm giving it a 4. It also has crazy combos. There's a mech that deals 1 damage to every minion on the battlefield. So if you attach this to that, kills every other minion on the battlefield.
Ooh.
And including your bombs. There are mechs that deal damage on death rattles and stuff. It's just I'm really pumped for this card. I think it has crazy synergies, and I think just 2 mana 2/2 mech magnetic would maybe be strong enough to see play already, and the poisonous is just icing on the cake.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, no, I completely agree with you on this one. I think 2 mana 2/2 is serviceable even by itself. 2 mana 2/2 poisonous, even better. The fact that you can basically attach it to any mech and it just becomes a 2 mana removal spell for opponent's minions immediately. Yeah, I think this is. Oh, this one actually might be closer to a 4 than a 3. But I'm gonna hedge my bets on not knowing about the mechs at this point and their strength, and probably say this is just a solid 3 right now.
Yeah, this is probably the reason that you want to be playing Mechs and Hunter. Like, it's a much stronger Stubborn Gastropod, and Stubborn Gastropod's already a good card that sees playing quite a few decks right now. I'm gonna also give it a 4. Like, it kills fireflies. It does 2 damage to face, which is also much better than Gastropod.
Yeah.
And then
it has charge if you stick any Goblin Bomb on the board.
Yeah. And like it's strong. It's like decent as a 2/2, and then it's just like insanely strong when you magnetize it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we are to Goblin Prank. So this is a 2 mana epic spell, and is give a friendly minion +3/+3 and rush. It dies at the end of turn. So this is an interesting effect because, again, going back to death rattles, we have strong death rattles, and I think most of the death rattle hunter starts at, or I mean, like, have 6 and 8 mana creatures. So you can do this in the same turn most of the time with something that you have a good death rattle on. And plus it allows you to use it as a removal spell because chances are +3/+3 is going to kill pretty much anything on the other side of the board. Again, this is probably closer to somewhere between 2-3, and with the ability to have death rattles, I think this is probably closer to a 3. So I think I'm gonna roll 3 on this one. Haki, what's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'm also gonna give it a 3. I think it works like a quick shot in Egg Hunter, which is something that Hunter wants more, is just like extra removal. And alternatively, like, it's also like 3 extra damage to face if you need it as a quick shot. It's worse because you don't get the draw, and like most of the time you're going to be trading in with it, but I still think like they would play a 2 mana deal 3 to a minion spell, so I'm going to give it a 3.
Yeah, I'm also giving it a 3, borderline 4, just because if you stick something on the board, you can also just use that 3 damage to go face, even if you're not, like, if it was already there, it's like 3 charge damage. That's really strong.
Sure.
Sure, your minion dies at the end of the turn, but it's burst. like Leroy this is 9 burst damage for 8 mana at the end of the game. So yeah, I'm borderline 4 on this, but it's really good. It's gonna see play.
Just jam in and face Hunter with Wolf Rider on 5. Nice 6 damage.
6 damage. Whew, okay.
Thank goodness it can't go in Odd Hunter. That would be horrible.
Yes.
Oh, imagine if they're like, oh, it's not good enough. Let's make it a 1 cost spell.
Disgusting.
All right. So we are to
Spider Bomb.
Spider Bomb. So I believe, Hockey, why don't you, did you do the last one?
It's a
I'm doing
3 mana
terrible job.
2/2 mech. And it has Magnetic and Death Rattle, destroy a random enemy minion. And I know Ironfire is hyped about this card, so I'll let him start.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm just honestly, I'm not going to go to a 4 on this, but I am going to give it a 3. I think there's so many Death Rattle synergies, especially like the Fireworks tech in conjunction with this. I think it's going to see play. I think it's really strong. And Magnetic is way better than most people think it is, I think. It's really good. Especially with bombs. Bombs and Magnetic. Sweet spot.
I gotta say, through this whole kind of going through these, Ironfire keeps convincing me a little bit more each time. It's like, all right, maybe Hunter has something here more than I think they do.
I'm hyped for Hunter, probably too much force. I'm like, don't be led astray. Let's not look stupid when we look back. Like,
it's like
all of us got duped. It's just me.
So I think the effect is definitely strong. And if something like the current Death Rattle Hunter could add just a couple mechs, and you can do something like Play Dead to trigger this or anything else, I am probably going to go for a 2 at this point in time because, again, I want to be on the safe side with these mechs because we don't know 100% how they work. And 3 mana 2/2 is actually not a good cost by itself. It's not the best, but it's not really that good either. I'm going to lean towards 2, but I could definitely see where if the mech deck takes off, this could easily be a 3. So, Hockey?
I think it's okay. I don't think it's as strong as Ironfire things, but I think you're going to play it out of necessity, mainly because there's only one other 3 mana Magnetic minion, and I don't think that one's particularly powerful, but this is also a nice curve off of Bomb Toss, or when you just drop another Goblin Bomb or another mech on 2, and it's the only thing that really curves into it as a Magnetic minion, so I'm going to give it a 3, because you're gonna play it because you have to, and it's gonna be all right. But I think if they printed better 3 mana Magnetic minions in the future, this would get cut. So it's like a 2.5 that rounds up to 3.
All right. So the next card we have is Necro Mechanic. So Ironfire, why don't you tell us about Necro Mechanic?
Necro Mechanic is a 5 mana 3/6 with the effect of your Death Rattles trigger twice. So kind of like Baron Rivendare from back in the day. Mm-hmm. And right, Hockey Boys, let's start with you this time.
So the effect is really powerful. Having your Death Rattles trigger twice, having it on 3/6 body is decent. That's gonna survive most of the time. Shaw survives most of the time as a 3/6 on 4. Or even if you drop it on 5. So if you can go this into curve, just this on 6 with Play Dead on an egg, and you get 2 other 5/5s, that's insane.
That actually was going to be a thing I was going to ask. Does this synergize with Play Dead?
It should.
It should.
Your Death Rattle just triggers twice, right? Because Play Dead says you trigger the Death Rattle.
Interesting.
So I think because of that, it's pretty strong, and you're just gonna play it in an Egg Hunter deck. I don't think it's stronger than something like Shaw, but Shaw would be a 4 out of 4 card in that, so I'm gonna give it a 3.
All right.
Yeah, knowing that it synergizes with Play Dead makes me want to also give this a 3, just because I can imagine, cube on 5 into Necro Mechanic Play Dead on 6. It's just an incredibly strong dream curve.
Oh, so now that you brought that up, now I have an additional question. Let's say you do have Necro Mechanic, you cube it, you break the cube, you get. Does that mean they trigger 4 times?
Yes.
No, it's only going to trigger twice.
Oh,
The ones that say your death rattle trigger twice and has like a specific number, it only works twice no matter how many you have on the board.
Well, but if the cube death rattle triggers twice, you get 4 minions, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, that you do. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought he meant like if you have 2 of them on the field.
I was thinking if you had 2 Necro Mechanics, would your death rattle trigger 4 times whenever they do occur? But yeah, no, you would get 2 of them, or you'll get a total of 4. If
Shaw into cube, your Shaw into Necro. Play dead 4 Shaws, and a cube full of Shaws. Oof.
Did you ever lose at that point? Probably
no,
not.
You never lose at that point.
Probably not.
Oh, you lose to a Mali Druid that drops Floop on that turn.
That's true.
Completely different classes, but sure. It's like, I was originally gonna give this a 2, but I think y'all have convinced me, especially since there is a class that like plays eggs and you know get 2 eggs, 2 5/5s at once. Yeah, that's just strong. I'm gonna lean this towards. I'm gonna give this a 3. I think I'm gonna match y'all on this one. Amazingly, we're not to the legend.
Too slow.
Might be a tad too slow, but I mean, really, honestly, Hunter right now is in a position where it really is a much slower deck than when Hearthstone originally started.
It is.
It is a much slower deck. All of them are. So, all right. So we're actually to our 2 legendary. We have our legendary minion and our legendary spell coming up, and we're gonna start off with Boommaster Flark.
Mm-hmm.
Is 7 mana, 5/5, with Battlecry summon 4 O2 Goblin Bombs, and of course we've already talked about what Goblin Bombs are.
Mm-hmm.
So is this a spiritual successor to Dr. Boom?
No.
Fire, what's your thoughts on this one?
Well, I think Goblin Bombs are actually worth their entire 1 mana cost and could see play in Hunter vanilla just as a card, like pay a card and 1 mana, get a Goblin Bomb. So that means this is a 3 mana 5/5. That's pretty good. I'm going to give this a 3. I don't think it's totally busted, but having those O2 bodies to make your opponent not be able to board clear and to magnetize things seems really, really strong to me. This is close to a 4 in my mind.
All right, Haki, what's your thoughts on this one?
It's closer to a 1 than it is to a 4, in my opinion.
You might be right. It is very expensive.
Like you put stuff on the board, but you're putting 0 attack things on the board. Like if this costs 5 mana and you summon 2, then I think it'd be a lot stronger. Like it's just very slow, and you don't really get the advantage from the bombs until like a lot later than you want to be getting them. Like by turn 7, like a mid-range hunter, you want to start killing them by then around. So like,
yeah, I just think the thing a lot of people. Oh, sorry. So what are you saying? Are you saying this is a 1 or is it 2?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 1. I just I think people are gonna experiment with it, and then I think people are gonna cut it and realize that like the mech hunter just works better when it's a bit faster. Like I think it's just slightly too slow to see play.
I just think the fact that this doesn't die to meteor flame strike without dealing 8 damage to your opponent's face or any AoE is very good.
I would say, well, and let me offer up a idea here. So you play this on 7, and then you can immediately magnetize it with one of the other things that we've already talked about potentially, or because your opponent is not going. They'll kill the 5/5 all day long. They're not going to kill those bombs unless they can warrant taking the 8 health. So really what this is basically is a 7 mana 5/5 that sets you up for any magnetic / mech things on turn 8. So I don't think it's a 1. I think the power level is there. I definitely don't think it's a 4. I'm actually going to split the difference between y'all. I think I'm going to go 2 here. It's like the potential is there. I don't see it at this very moment, but there's something there. So, all right. So we're to the final Hunter card. So, Ivar, tell us about Flark's Boom Zuka.
Flark's Boom Zuka is an 8 mana legendary spell for Hunter that reads, summon 3 minions from your deck. They attack enemy minions, then die. So the way this works is that the minions basically get recruited, and then they just literally random attack random targets on your opponent's side of the field, and then they die before you can do anything with them. You can't target them with like play deads or anything. They don't die at the end of your turn. They die after this, like as soon as the spell is done. So this is such a unique effect that I have a very hard time rating it a 1, but I'm going to rate it a 1. You have to build your deck in such a specific way that it has like big death rattles, maybe, and then you pull it and the death rattles do things or something like that. But it's hard to envision building a deck where this works. What do you think, Hockey?
The best card for this is like the Devilsaur's Egg, and that doesn't even attack anything. Like, it should. Like there's not like it's a unique effect, but it's also a terrible effect. Like you don't really want your minions dying, even when they attack randomly, and like random attacks aren't that strong. There's like 3 mana 4/4s that randomly attack at the start of your turn, and 3 mana 4/4s are really strong, but like those cards are terrible. Like this is a 1, and I just don't see how this ever sees play.
Yeah, unless Spiteful Hunter somehow becomes a thing magically in the next set, this is a 1. It's like it. I don't see where this. I mean, even if you had good death rattles and everything else, and then of course also if your opponent has no minions on the board, then they just come out and die immediately, doing absolutely nothing. This is a 1.
Like it's gonna be like 8 mana, kill 3 1/1 dudes.
Yes. Yep, absolutely. So. All right, so that wraps up Hunter. Actually, somehow we averaged higher on Hunter than we did Druid, which I don't even know how that's possible. So
it's me. I inflated our Hunter numbers. Sorry, guys.
That's fine. So let's get to the next. Let's go to the next one. Mage. So, and we are going to start off with Shooting Star. So, let's see. Ironfire, you want to start off with Shooting Star?
Oh boy, yep. So this is a 1 mana spell for Mage that reads: deal 1 damage to a minion and the minions next to it. And when it's affected by spell damage, this will, like with spell damage +1, this would deal 2 damage to a minion and 2 damage to the minions next to it. So each spell damage is basically increasing the damage 3-fold.
Okay, can I start with this one? Isn't Arcane Explosion still a card that's 1 damage to all the it doesn't damage your own minions. Wait.
Yeah,
no,
it
sorry.
does 1 to all the enemies.
It's 2 mana though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 2 mana. Like this is much better because it's 1 mana.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, I mean, I could see it. Since it doesn't go face, I don't know if it fits into like a Luneth mage, and it definitely doesn't fit into Big Spell Mage. You know what? I may be wrong on this, and I'll be glad to admit it. I think this is a 1. I just don't see this getting played over in any current iteration of a mage deck.
Hockey, you want to weigh in?
Yeah, I think this is really strong in a Tempo Alaneth mage. Being able to make it 0 mana with Sorcerer's Apprentice is a big deal, and it tripling in damage with spell damage is like also a big deal. It lets you like hit face more with your minions instead of trading, which is what the Tempo Mage wants to do, because Tempo Mage loses a lot of times because they just don't get enough damage in with the minions, and then they just don't have enough burn to finish out the game. So I'm going to give this a 3. I think it's strong. It'll be core in Tempo Mage until it rotates.
I'm somewhere in between between the two of you. It's obviously extremely strong in metas where the opponent is going wide and they're not going wide with Goblin Bombs. But this is going to be terrible if your opponent drops a 3/6 with Taunt or a Tar Creeper or a whole bunch of other things, or if they're a control deck and they're just dropping one mid-range taunt after mid-range taunt after mid-range taunt. This is going to do nothing. It's going to clog up your hand, and it's going to be the first thing to get cut. So I think it's really strong if you're facing a bunch of Odd Paladins, really weak if you're facing a bunch of Druids, and I'm not sure. I don't think it's a staple but I think it will be a tech card that we'll see play in this meta and in the future, and it'll vary in strength, but yeah, giving it a 2.
Yeah, and and actually I can see that. I guess if Paladin is like Odd Paladin is still popular, 1 mana, do away with your first 2 turns of the game. That's.
Or Zoo, and like Zoo's a bad matchup for the Tempo Mage, and this makes it better.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like it makes your bad matchups, your bad like aggro matchups better, which is why I like it.
It does. No, I think it's a good card, but I think it's very situational. I don't think it's like a auto include in any standard deck, but it'll be a tech card for sure.
All right. So we have next card is a 2-mana card, and Ironfire. Why don't you tell us about Celestial Emissary?
The Celestial Emissary is a 2-mana 2/1 element. With Battlecry, your next spell this turn has spell damage +2. So spell damage, I think we've learned in the past, is really strong with spells like Shooting Star, where it scales to do like way more damage than just 2 damage. Things like Flame Strike, where your Flame Strike is doing 6, or Blizzard, where your Blizzard is doing 4. Spell damage +2 could be really powerful. So I could actually see this as like a tech card in Big Spell Mage. So sorry, I probably should have passed off the review to someone else.
That's fine.
But I just reviewed it, and I'm gonna give it a 2. I think it has some uses, but I don't think it's like a auto include in anything per se. Force, what do you think about this card?
Yeah, I tend to agree. Of course, they were never going to do, standing 2 spell damage +2. I could have seen this maybe if it was like spell damage +2 this turn, then you could use a bunch of spells in a row that all get powered up by that. But this is just one spell. Whatever your next spell is +2. And I guess technically it could combo with something like Unexpected Results, which we'll talk about in a moment. But I don't. I think this is 2. It's situational at best, I think. So, Hockey?
Yeah, I think it's going to see some fringe play in Big Spell Mage if that's still a deck around, because just like getting +2 spell damage on AoE is pretty powerful. But other than that, I don't think it's going to see play, so I'm also going to give it a 2.
All right, so we are to Astral Rift. So this is a 2-mana, add 2 random minions to your hand. So this is actually an interesting card because before we had the portal that gives you 1 random minion and decreases the cost by 2. This is just get
by
2
3.
By 3.
Yeah,
by 3. Yes. Yeah, by
Mhm.
3.
It was
This is you just get 2 cards. I mean, is this a fixed version of that card? Possibly. So, Ironfire, what's your thought on this?
Boy, do I think this is weak. Random minions, on average, are horrible, as you will know if you've played any Tavern Brawl that gives you random minions. So this is a hard one in my book.
All right.
Yeah,
Hockey?
this is the easiest one. I'll give this. Like this card sucks.
Yeah.
It feels like they didn't have a 10th card for Mage, and they're like, let's just give them 2 random minions.
Agree. It's like, I think this is this is not something that you want to include in your deck, even if you're short on minions for some reason. I think this is an easy one. So
Something I just thought of is that if Hand Mage becomes a thing, spending 2 mana to increase your hand size by 1 might be useful.
I just thought of the Mountain Giants application with this at the same time too, but
no, yeah.
Well, okay, all right. Well, let's talk about this. So you have Astral Rift, 2 mana, add 2 random minions to your hand. Then you have the next card, Research Project. Each player draws 2 cards. So, what are y'all's thoughts compared to Astral Rift on this one versus 2 random minions versus 2 cards from your deck?
Boy, oh boy. Do you want to start with this, Hockey?
No, you sound excited. Go ahead.
I am so excited. Oh man, this card is a 4 in my mind. That little frog that drew 2 cards for both players used to see play in various different mages. That was a tech card in all kinds of different mages. You don't really care that much if your opponent draws 2 cards. Like sometimes you do and you hold it back, But if you're looking for a combo or fishing for Jaina or whatever, you don't care too much if they draw 2 cards. It not being attached to a body is not that big a deal. It used to be 1 more mana expensive for a 2/2, and Mage doesn't really care about bodies on the board, so who cares? If now it's a spell and it can be discounted by spell synergies, and it can be discovered, it can be all sorts of things. I think this card's like an easy 4. This is fantastic.
It's much better than Book of Specters, like the 2 mana draw 3, because it lets you draw Burst and Burn.
Yeah.
It also fits in the greatest deck of all time that's going to come up. Togwaggle Mage.
Togwaggle Mage, yes.
Oh boy, here we go. All right, so I tend to agree. I think this is a 4. My only downside to this card is you can't play a big spell mage because it's too cheap. So, but everything else says, yeah, just you get to draw 2 cards. This is probably the greatest top deck ever if you have no cards in your hand. So yeah, I think this is a easy 4.
What did you give this, Hockey? Did you give this a 4?
No, I'm actually also gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a 2.
Wow.
I don't think it's as strong as you guys think. Like, I like Book of Specters sucks. That's like an easy one. But like the decks that used to run Cold Light, they got seriously nerfed. Not even just by Cold Light. Like the only other deck that I can think of that used to run it was Aggro Freeze Mage, and Aggro Freeze Mage lets Ice Lance, which is like the biggest deal in that deck. Like I think as a tempo mage, giving your opponent extra ways, like extra cards, is worse than if you're like a combo deck. So like potentially if like a combo Exodia mage pops back up, which I don't think it will because of Ice Block, it won't be played. And I think like Arcane Intellect is more powerful than this card in Tempo Mage, and Tempo Mage doesn't really want to run 4 Arcane Intellects. So I think like potentially if there's a combo deck you'll see play, but other than that I don't think it is.
Actually, I'm gonna revise my score down to a 3 because I forgot we were doing them. I don't think it's busted, but I think it is very strong. I'm very excited about its possibilities. You've convinced me a little bit. I'm gonna revise it.
All right, yeah. I'm gonna back down too. I think because like it's a 3. It's definitely I definitely don't think it's as bad as you say it is at a 2. But yeah, I don't think this is gonna be a format warping card that is like, oh god, I can't believe they top deck research project. It's good. I don't think it's gonna fit. It's gonna find its way into mage decks, but it's not gonna be meta warping.
Although wait till Togwaggle Mage mills you 2 cards. And then like just beats you because of this card.
All right.
So moving on, we have the legendary minion Stargazer Luna. It has 2 attack, 4 health, and it reads: after you play the rightmost card in your hand, draw a card. And what do you think about this force?
The effect is strong, but I will say I don't know the current deck this fits in. It is like because we already have Alaneth for Alaneth Mage. That's 6, but the effect is strong. I'm gonna give this a speculative 3. Is like the effect is strong. I just don't know the current deck that it actually fits in or works in. But the effect is strong. Just keep playing. And if you only have 1 card in hand, it's just you start cycling. So every card has cycle on it. So I'm gonna give it a speculative 3. But I'll be honest, I don't see the current place where it fits. So, Ironfire, what's your thoughts on this one?
So if we compare this to the 3 mana card that draws 2 cards, obviously
Cold Light Oracle?
No. Just the Arcane Intellect. There we go.
Oh, Arcane Intellect, yeah.
Obviously, this is far superior to that if it draws 2 cards. And if it draws 1 card, it's pretty comparable to Sandbinder. But Sandbinder kind of tutors on its own. It's a 2/4 body that draws an elemental from your deck. And that's pretty good. The other thing about Stargazer Luna, though, is that it basically has like taunt. It's like, I feel like this is Tempo Mage's equivalent of Houndmaster Shaw, in that this is a must-kill minion. If it survives the next turn, you can go off on card draw again. You could just maybe even drop this on turn 3 if you don't have another play. 2/4 is a decent enough body. If your opponent doesn't deal with it, you go crazy with card draw. So between a 3 and a 4 on this. I think it's very, very strong. I'm going to give it a 3, but I'm really close to giving this one a 4. It's very good.
Are you giving? Like, is the card draw that crazy?
I think so. Yeah.
Like Tempo Mage doesn't run that many small spells, right? Like, I think you're drawing what, 2 cards, 3 cards at max with this, and like if you hit a fireball, then you're not drawing more than 2 cards. And when it's that late in the game, your Alaneth is probably out, and that's what's drawing you cards and winning you the game.
Maybe, or you draw into your Alaneth.
That's true. Like, you can draw into your Alaneth. I do think this is more of like a for fun card and more of a meme card.
I think you would replace 1 copy of AI right now in Tempo Mage, and it would make Tempo Mage a better deck if you replaced it with this card.
Like, I think it's better in like a Murloc Mage deck or something that plays small minions as well. Like, I think it's gonna give it a 2 and like maybe sees play in Murloc Mage, but I don't think it's gonna see play in Tempo Mage. Like, I think people are gonna try it and then cut it because I don't think it's more powerful than AI.
Okay.
All right.
Card draw is good.
Yeah, card draw is always good. It's like I've never, I don't know if unless your hand is completely full, I've never seen card draw be bad. So, but anyway, all right. So we're to the next card, and Hockey, why don't you tell us about unexpected? Oh wait, no, you just did Stargate. Ironfire, tell us about unexpected results.
Yeah, unexpected results is a 4 mana mage spell. Summon 2 random 2-cost minions. Improved by spell damage. So what that means is if you have 1 spell damage, it will summon 2 3-cost minions, and if you have 2 spell damage, it will summon 2 4-cost minions. So Force, what are your thoughts on this card?
I think a lot of people are thinking Magical Christmas Land on this one. That's like, oh, if you have, Malagos out that costs 1 mana, thanks to another card we'll talk about, you get 2 7-cost minions for 4 mana. I tend to be a little bit more of a realist here. I'm going to give this a 2 just because the effect is potentially strong, but it's not something that I see, like, I don't think this is going to see as much play as people have potentially been hyping this up to be. So I think this is a 2. So, Hockey?
I'm on the fence between whether it's a 3 or a 4. It makes your other cards very powerful in your deck. Like, it makes your spell damage minions that you play must kill. So if you drop like a mana worm, then you drop a spell damage minion, it's like, which one are you going to kill, the spell damage or the mana worm? Because they're both like really strong with this card. It also works with Sorcerer's Apprentice to drop this on 3. I just think it's going to be Chain Gang or better most of the time. So I'm going to give it a 3 because that's about where I'd rate Chain Gang.
2 2-cost minions is really bad. That is not worth 4 mana. So you have to pair this with another card for it to be a card you would play in your deck. Like, for it to be better than a good 4 mana card. And so it lacks a lot of flexibility, I think, in that regard. And I just don't... I'm going to give this a 1. I don't think this ever sees play. But who knows? Maybe we'll get better spell damage stuff in the future. Maybe it will be better than I think, but it is not a Chain Gang most of the time. Most time, it is quite a bit worse than a Chain Gang.
I would say, and if you have no spell power, it could be summon a Doomsayer.
Yeah, and even if you have even if you get 7 drops, you can get Azalina, you can get Lanessa, that's the one I was looking for, the 1/1. Like, there are lots of low rolls at a lot of the minion costs. Just comparing this to any Evolve play that Evolve Shaman was able to make back in, it pales, very much pales in comparison to any play with Evolve. So, yeah, I'm giving this a solid 1. Because Evolve used to be 2 cards, summon 3 6/6s for 6 mana. And this gets nowhere near that, even with like any other 1 card you pair it with, doesn't get anywhere close.
All right, so we are to Cosmic Anomaly. So Cosmic Anomaly is a 4 mana 4/3 that just reads, well, 1 is elemental, so if there's any elemental issues, we need to include that, but it's spell damage +2. So, I guess I can start with this one. Spell damage. I mean, body's serviceable, not great. Spell damage +2 is strong. If this sees play, it's going to be because of that elemental tag. But I think there are better 4-mana elementals already, including the Phoenix that deals 2 damage to something. I just don't see a play for this card. If the spell damage deck becomes an actual deck, I could see it maybe. So I'm leaning towards 1 on this one. Haki, what's your thoughts?
This should have been a warrior card. It's a 1. Like 4 mana 4/3 is really bad. Spell damage +2 is like it's okay, but like in the decks I want to be running spell damage +2, like you want it on a cheaper cost and you want it with the AoE. Like you just can't pair it up with enough burn damage in like a burn mage deck for it to be worthwhile. But yeah, it should have been a warrior card so you can go 3 mana whirlwinds.
Alright.
That would have been great. Yeah, I'm between like a 1 and a 2. Maybe one day spell damage becomes good enough that this gets run. But it also dies to a flame imp, so I'm going to give it a 1.
Yeah, the warrior thing was a couple seasons ago. I played on stream a couple times, and both times I brought warrior with unexpected kobold for the whirlwind 3 damage effect as kind of like a joke kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that was a 4-mana 2/2, wasn't it? With
Yeah.
spell damage +2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah.
Like that
Whatever.
only saw play because freeze mage could discount cards.
Yeah.
Like that was the only reason why it saw play, and you can't discount this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, you can discount it, but who knows how good that is.
I'm going to give it a 2. I'm going to go back and give it a 2. That's what I have it on my spreadsheet, so.
I think it's a 1. I just don't think it's gonna see play.
Yeah,
I doubt it ever will.
I think it's too generic. It's, as I said, the elemental tag is about the best thing going for it, but they're better 4-mana elementals already. So, all right. So we are 2 meteorologists. So Haki, tell us about meteorologists.
It's a 6-mana 3/3 that reads Battlecry for each card in your hand, deal 1 damage to a random enemy, and like it's really bad, and I'm giving it a 1.
All right, Ironfire.
I feel like there've got to be some weird combos with this. Like, this is Mage's answer if they ever want to Azalina Shudderwalk. They get this thing, and then Shudderwalk's hands are almost always full of Shudderwalks. So you're dealing 9 damage with every 1-mana Shudderwalk after you Azalina.
Oh wait. Would this let big spell mage beat Shudderwalk? Like, would you win? You play 2 of these.
No, probably not.
It's like
maybe. I think the Battlecry is unique enough that I can't give it a 1, but I'm going to give it a 2. I don't think it's going to be good, but there are some fringe applications.
Oh, I did not think of the Shudderwalk implications with Azalina. I'm actually going to bump this up to a 2.
Yes! I convinced Haki.
Like, if you can beat Shudderwalk Shaman as big spell mage, that's like such a big deal because that deck it's an auto loss otherwise. Oh, wait, that's actually really cool if that actually works.
Wouldn't it be great?
It's like playing Dead Man's Hand Warrior, but like playing an actual good deck instead of Dead Man's Hand Warrior.
All right, so for meteorologists, I could see it fitting into Big Spell Mage because Big Spell Mage does tend to have heavy hands generally. Like, so it's basically 6 mana, deal 5-6 damage randomly. But if your opponent has a board full of stuff, it's not that great. So I'm thinking I'm with y'all on the 2 train. I definitely don't think it's a 1 because of the effect, but it's something there. But I don't know if it's that great. So, all right, so we are 2 Astromancer. So this is Ironfire, why don't you tell us about Astromancer?
Astromancer is a 7-mana 5/5 that it has a battle cry that says summon a random minion with the cost equal to your hand size. And to clarify, that can at most be 9, because after you've played this, it's not in your hand. So Hockey Boys, what are you thinking about this card?
This card's worse than Astral Rift. This card is so bad. Like Spiteful Summoner is good because you can get a 10 mana card. like a 10 cost minion off this, and there is only one way you can get a 10 cost minion off of Astromancer, and it's if you go you have to play Luna's Pocket Galaxy and make everything 1 cost. Then you play Stargazer Luna, you play Research Project to get 2 cards, and then Astromancer's the rightmost minion, and then you'll get a Tyrantus. But even then, you'll still just get Emrys, and then Cry, and then Concede, and disenchant the card. This is like the worst card we've seen so far, easily.
Of course.
I gotta say I disagree a little bit. It's not the worst card. It's like because you're still getting a 7-mana 5/5 and you're getting something on the side. And again, Big Spell Mage might be able to play something like this. So it could be like a 7-mana 5/5 and you get a 6 or a 7 drop. And while there are some bad 6/7 drops compared to 10, where there are not really a lot of bad 10 drops, it's still not the worst case scenario. I don't. The problem is that I'm running into right now, just thinking about this card, is I don't know what you would cut to include it in your deck, and that's the reason why I'm going to give this a 2 for the time being. I don't think it's I definitely don't think it's a 1. The effect is there, but I don't know what you would take out of current Big Spell Mage to fit this in. So,
I remember.
What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I remember someone saying that Big Spell Mage did not run pre-nerf Spiteful Summoner.
Correct.
And that convinced me that this is a 1. Just, this is worse than pre-nerf Spiteful Summoner. It's 1 more mana, and it's going to, on average, summon a minion of the same cost. So I don't think it's strong enough to ever see play, really.
All right. So we're to the final mage card, and is the legendary spell. And this one's had a lot of hype around it. Luna's Pocket Galaxy. Change the cost of minions in your deck to 1. So, Haki, what's your thoughts on this one?
I'm giving it a 1. It's 7 mana, do nothing that turn, and that's really bad. Although it's an integral part of Togwaggle Mage. You go turn 6 Alaneth, do nothing. Turn 7 Luna's Pocket Galaxy, do nothing, and then you can start doing Togwaggle stuff. But yeah, I just think it's really bad.
So I think that's a really bad comparison because Alaneth is a 6-mana do nothing that is, a staple of Tempo Mage at this point. I think if the effect is extremely powerful, then you can spend 6 to 7 mana doing nothing in a turn. And I think this effect is extremely powerful. I don't think it fits in any archetype we have now. I think this is going to build its own archetype of maybe it even makes Elemental Mage strong because you're just all of a sudden you're top decking 1 mana Blaze Callers and things like that off the top of your deck, and some of your elementals draw cards or discover, I don't know. They have really powerful effects. So I'm going to give this a 3. I feel like it could easily be a 4 just because the effect is so strong, but I don't see necessarily what archetype is going to be created with this.
Yeah, I'm definitely closer to Ironfire on this one. I think, anything that says all your minions become 1 mana, regardless of their current mana cost, is something you have to at least pay a little bit of attention to. And it is a spell, and it's 7 mana. We already do play 7 mana spells in certain decks that this could potentially fit in. But I think you're closer. I think Ironfire's right. I think this is going to be something that's going to build a new type of deck, and it's going to be built around this card. And with that, so I am going to give it a 3, like Ironfire here is. I think I don't know what the deck is, but the effect is too powerful to ignore.
All right. Sounds like we're moving on to Paladin.
Oh, actually, we have a little quick break before we move on to Paladin.
That's right.
So yes, so we have a drawing. So we have a quick raffle. We sent out the captain feedback surveys, I believe, last week, and we actually have had 2 players, 2 people with Jerry Damage and Durden, offer up some free packs for us based on the number of people who filled out the survey. So what we're going to do is I have a open list currently of all the players who performed who did the captain feedback survey. minus board members and the league administration people. So if you did that, and then unfortunately that eliminates myself as well. But if but we have I think we have a total of 53 players here, and so we're going to do a quick random number generator and get who is going to be the winner. The first packs that we're offering up is going to be from Jerry Damage. So we are going to roll a random number generator, and we have number 31. And number 31 is Brasky. So congratulations to Brasky for getting 10 packs of the Boomsday project from Jerry Damage. So congratulations, Brasky, on that. All right. So let's go to the... So now we can move on to Paladin. So congratulations, Brasky, for that.
Yay, Brasky.
Yay, Brasky. So, and interestingly enough, I am looking at the spreadsheet now. Mage is by far the lowest we rated so far. It's 1.9 average score right now. So
yeah, I remember seeing some pros say that people are underrating mage cards. So we may have just fallen into that trap.
We may have.
Everyone underrated Cinderstorm last time, and that card turned out to be okay.
Yep, sure. I think we all get that one last time.
Yeah, we gave it a 1.
Yeah, 1. Oh, yeah. So yeah, we were wrong about that. So
right.
All right. So let's move on to Paladin cards. And so we're going to start off with Auto Defense Matrix, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So I about Auto Defense Matrix.
Yeah, this is a 1-mana secret for Paladin that says, when one of your minions is attacked, give it Divine Shield. And I've heard that when one of your minions is attacked and you have this up and Noble Sack, regardless of which order you played them in, the minion that gets attacked will get Divine Shield, and then the attacking minion will hit the 2/1, the get down dude.
So the Noble Sack will not get the 2/1.
No, it doesn't get the Divine Shield.
Or will not get the Divine Shield.
Yeah, which is probably more powerful than the other way around, just because whatever minion they're attacking is probably better than a 2/1. So, okay. Hockey Boys, what do you think about this?
I think it's a lot stronger than Noble Sack, and I think if Paladin wants to play secrets, then it would play this card over Noble Sack with Bellringer Sentry, and I think Bellringer Sentry is strong and this card's strong, but trying to build Paladin decks, it just could not find room for the 6 cards that need to be played for the Bellringer Sentry package. Like, if somehow a standalone Secret Paladin deck pops up because Secret Keeper coined this is like a really, really strong play, then it'll see play. But other than that, I don't think it's actually going to see play just because you can't fit the Bellringer Sentry package into Paladin. So I'm going to give it a 1, even though it's a strong card.
Oh,
wow. Yeah,
I agree with...
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I agree with basically everything you just said, which is why I'm going to give it a 2. Because I can actually, if Secret Paladin gets more tools in the future, just, one more strong Bellringer Sentry type card, I think it could take off and be really good. And this would get run in it, so.
Yeah, it's I think it's a 1 in Standard and like a 3 in Wild, where Secret Paladin is still played. So, yeah, I'll cut the average and call it a 2.
Oh. Alrighty, on to Glowtron. Force, you want to tell us about Glowtron?
Sure. Yeah, it's a 1-mana 1/3, and the only keyword it has is magnetic. That being said, I don't think this is a card that's going to get magnetized to anything else. I think this card's going to be one that's going to get a lot of stuff magnetized to it.
It's also a mech.
And it is a mech. Yes, of course. Yeah, with magnetic. Yes, it is. It has the mech word on it. So, Ironfire, what's your thoughts on Glowtron?
I feel like this is the easiest 4 of my life. Dire Maul already sees play in a bunch because it's a really good card. And if Mech Paladin is a thing at all, this is a big enabler. This is a big reason Mech Paladin can survive. 1-mana 1/3s are insane. The magnetic keyword on it makes it even decent in the late game. Not a great top deck, but it's not the worst. This is really good.
I mean, it's a 1-mana buff to a mech you may already have. So, I mean, it's... Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think this is a strong 4. This is 1-mana 1/3s are good. the fact that it has magnetic means you can buff something later on. But as I said, I think more often than not, you are going to be magnetizing something to this.
Like on top of that, it's just like a better dire mullen odd paladin too, and you're also gonna play it an odd paladin.
Mm-hmm.
So like this is an easy 4. It like makes mech paladin really strong. It's also really good with Valinir.
Oh wow, yeah, Valinir. Oh yeah, you're right.
Oh, anything magnetic with Valinir is so good. I had not thought of that. I'm so pumped now.
Yeah. All right, that's pretty awesome. So, all right, so we're to Crystology. So, Hockey, tell us about Crystology.
It's a 2-mana spell. It draws 2 1-attack minions from your deck, and it's okay. Like drawing Lanissa is really good. Drawing the 1/3 mech's okay, but other than that, there's not really that many 1-attack minions that you want to draw. So I'm gonna give it a 2.
All right.
So yeah, go ahead.
I think 2 mana draw 2 is extremely strong. We have hardly any 2 mana draw 2s in the whole game. So you're drawing what on the surface look like bad minions, but think about this. Stonehill Defender is 1 attack, Tar Creeper is 1 attack. Almost every single paladin legendary they've printed in the past year is 1 attack. Yep. I think this is an extremely strong card. I'm on the verge of calling it a 4, but I'm going to say 3, and it's like a strong 3.
So those one attack minions would be played in like a control paladin, right? Like
control. Yeah.
Yeah, like the issue is control paladin just doesn't have a way to win the game at the moment, right? Like that's my issue when I was thinking about control paladin.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't this expansion, but this would be like a staple card that made that deck work. It also fits into even paladin pretty well. Doesn't do too bad. Draws your Dry Gulch Jailers, draws your poisonous dudes. There are several things you can fit into even paladin that this draws. So I think 2 mana draw 2 should not be overlooked, regardless of what it's drawing, and it thins out your deck. I think this is really good.
Yeah, I think we already established 2 mana draw 2 cards from your deck is strong already. We talked about that with Mage, and 2 mana tutor 2 cards from your deck is even crazier. Yeah, I think this is a 3.
Alright, moving on. We have Crystal Smith Kangor. 2 mana legendary minion. Has 1 attack, 2 health, and it has Divine Shield, Lifesteal, and your healing is doubled. And I think...
Speaking of cards you can get from Crystology.
Yeah. I think it has the same problem that Crystology has, in that like Control Paladin just isn't going to be a good deck. Also, like the effect itself is really powerful, but until Control Paladin like has something that can actually win the game, because right now it doesn't really win the game, then it's not going to see play, and I'm going to give this a 1.
All right, Ironfire.
Yeah, I mean, once again, I think I agree with almost everything you said, so I'm going to give it a 2 because I think it will see play in a control future. It's a very strong effect.
Yeah. I'm actually probably closer to the 1 on this one. I think it's a strong effect. Yes, you can tutor it with Crystology, but that's not a good enough reason to play a 2 mana 1/2, even with Divine Shield. So, I mean, you can set up some crazy combos like 10 mana, drop this, and then do the heal 8, draw 3 cards. So you actually heal for 16, draw 3 cards. Sure, there's some crazy combos, but those are best case scenario things. I think a lot of times this does not have a lot of best case scenarios. So I'm gonna say it's a 1.
If you take in damage, just hitting attacking with this whenever powers up the Spellstone too, which is relevant if you want to play Control Paladin.
Sure.
Good to know.
All right. So we are to Anoia module. 4 mana, Magnetic, Divine Shield, Taunt. It's a 2/4. So, what are thoughts on this one? Hockey, we'll start with you this time.
It's a bad Blessing of Kings. Like I'd rather just play Blessing of Kings almost every single time, I think. So I'm gonna give it a 1. I don't think this sees play, and there's just better cards.
All right. Oh, I don't know. This is a tough one. It's like, yeah, it is a worse Blessing of Kings, but the difference is also Blessing of Kings you can't play unless you have a minion. This you can play by itself, and I mean, we've seen the Noitron 1/2, for 2 mana, and it's all play all the time. I'm not ready to say this is a 3. I think this is probably closer to a 2 than a 1 though. So I'm gonna go with 2.
Isn't there a spell that gives a minion Divine Shield for like 2 mana?
It's 1 mana.
1 mana.
Oh, it's 1 mana. So I don't know if this is a strict. Sorry, did you give this a 2, Force?
I gave this a 2. Yes.
Yeah, I'm also going to give this a 2. I think there's definitely potential here with the Divine Shield. If it's a meta where you trade a bunch and where the taunt makes a difference, like if it's an aggro meta, this probably gets slotted in instead of Blessing of Kings, or in addition to Blessing of Kings. But I think there will definitely be times this will be useful. Plus, Magnetic, I think, is underrated as a whole. This can get some insane trades. I'm actually borderline 3 on this. I'm really close to giving this a 3, but I'll go with 2.
Interesting.
All right.
I think it's good. Divine Shield's good. Magnetic's good.
All right. So we are to one of the most talked about Paladin cards this set so far is Prismatic Lens. So, Ironfire, tell us about Prismatic Lens.
Oh man, this is a weird one. 4 mana Paladin spell. Draw a minion and a spell from your deck. Swap their costs. So, Forrest, you go ahead and start with this one.
I recognize the power of the effect. Yes, you could potentially get something like a Lich King for the cost of a secret. But then you also have an 8 mana secret in your hand that's not really playable. And that's best case scenario. I think this is a 1, but I do recognize the effect is strong. But I just don't see where this potentially fits into anything at this point. So, Haki, what's your thoughts on this one?
So I look at this on the flip side, and I'm thinking Dino Size is really strong when it costs a lot less than 8 mana. And I think you can probably just run like a Flood Paladin aggro deck with a bunch of small minions. You run this Divine Favor, Dino Size, and then it's either you get like a cheap cost Prismatic Lens, which draws more cards, Divine Favor, which is like already cheap, or Dino Size. And like at the point, like turn 5-6 later on, if you have like a 1 attack Dino Size and an 8 attack Argent Squire, the Argent Squire wasn't going to matter that much at 1 mana, but the Dino Size is going to matter a lot at 1 mana. So I think like it has potential to see play in that. So I'm gonna give it a 3. I'm gonna say it's like like a 2.5, and that ends up to 3.
Oh man, I hadn't seen that Dino Size thing. So I'm gonna give this a 2. I don't think it sees play now, though the Dino Size thing sounds really interesting with like a Flood little minion paladin. But I don't know. 4 mana draw 2 is bad. You're paying 1 extra mana, so you really have to heavily discount something for it to be worth it. And I'm not sure how consistently you can do that, since one of the spells in your deck is always going to be Prismatic Lens. And if you run 2 of them, and Prismatic Lens is like a medium cost, like you can't really discount, or you can't discount it or anything else that much with it.
But even if you have a Flood Paladin, are you going to be happy with an 8 mana Righteous Protector?
No, I'm saying at 1 mana that Righteous Protector.
Dino Size.
Yeah, but like at that point in the game, around turn 5-6, your 1 attack minion, your 1 like mana minions like Argent Squire, Righteous Protector aren't that relevant, and having a 1 mana Dino Size is really relevant. And also, if you draw a Prismatic Lens with the Prismatic Lens, then you just play the Prismatic Lens again, and then you'll draw one of your other cards.
That's fair.
So you're kind of just stalling it for 1 turn, which kind of sucks, but it's not the end of the world, I don't think. Like I think like a Flood Paladin like that could exist. Whether it's better than Odd Paladin is debatable, but I have hope.
Yeah. Possibly, yeah. I mean, something's there, I think. So let's
definitely interesting, yeah.
Yeah, let's go to the next card, which is Shrink Ray. Ironfire, tell us about Shrink Ray.
Shrink Ray is a 5 mana Paladin spell that reads, set the attack and health of all minions to 1. That's all minions, yours and your opponent's. So Hockey, What do you think about this card?
I think it slots into Odd Paladin as a one of, because it's very powerful with Boisterous Bard. If you're like late in the game, you just set your board to all 1/1s, which it probably already is. Set their boards to 1/1s. You play Bard, and then you just clear their board, and you still have a board. Additionally, like if Control Paladin pops up, this goes in that too, because it just turns like a board of 8/8s, like, or Giants. They're playing even lock, and it just sets them to 1 attack, and that's really powerful. So like this works as an equality in Odd Paladin. I think equality would see play in Odd Paladin if it costs 5 mana. I'm gonna give this a 3, and I think it's gonna be core in Odd Paladin, but probably more as like just a 1 of instead of 2 of.
Yeah, it's like I'm afraid. What's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. I think it fits into Odd Paladin today and fits into Control Paladin tomorrow. Control Paladin got a lot of tools. It might fit into today. We'll see.
Yeah. So 3 on that one as well. I'm
yeah,
assuming?
3. I'm giving it a 3. Yep.
I think it's 3. I think you're right. It does fit into, because your biggest issue with Odd Paladin are taunts and things that are very difficult to get through. So setting something like Shrink Ray to allow you to get through stuff is actually pretty good. So yeah, I'm with you. I think this is a 3. And if Control Paladin ever becomes a thing again in the future, then that's good. All right, so we are to Mechano Egg. So this is actually probably the most expensive egg we've seen so far. It's 5 mana. It's a mech, so it does have the mech tagline. And Death Rattle is summon an 8/8 Robosaur. So, I'm sorry, what's your thoughts on Mechano Egg?
This card seems really bad. I feel like there's going to be some weird combo somewhere down the line that actually makes this work. Like you can make your Death Rattle trigger a whole bunch of times and get a bunch of 8-mana 8/8 Robosaurs. But compare this to the 2/2 with a Death Rattle of summon an 8/8 if it dies. It's also 5 mana. Never even come close to seeing constructed play. So I don't, and this needs an activator. Like I don't think this is very good. So I'm gonna give it a 1.
That also you couldn't trade with, which was the problem. Like
that is true.
This card's also really good with Kangor's Endless Army, right? There's potential to get the 8/8. You get this if you buff it with Magnetic. It works with. I'm only excited because it works in Meat Wagon.
Wow. Yeah.
Sure.
Dude, you get so wrecked by silence, though. So wrecked.
Yeah.
Does Kangor's Endless Army summon a 0/5 if it gets silenced, or does it summon whatever it was magnetized? I don't actually know how that works.
So
I'm assuming it doesn't summon it back silenced, because there's never been any effect that summons something back as a silenced version of itself.
I just
doesn't
mean
get summoned back.
Would it keep the buffs or not?
Maybe it would be. No. Sorry about that. Sorry. So
If you silence after the buffs, then no, you don't.
yeah, I think if your magnetic buffs get silenced, when it gets summoned back, it doesn't have the magnetic buffs anymore. But it is not silenced. It has like the original card's effect.
It's probably worse because of that. I think like you might want to try it with Meat Wagon and a Mech Paladin, but it's probably going to be bad as well.
Yeah.
Just kind of something to think of. I'm probably still going to give it a 1.
What about you, Will?
I was like, yeah, I think it's 1. Most of the time, I think you want your eggs to be like 3 mana or 2 mana or less. Doing 5 mana to just drop an 0/5. I don't see an implication for it. Even if you had Void Ripper and can flip it immediately, it's not something that you want to, roll with on that. I'm assuming it's just an 8/8. There's nothing like a charge, rush, anything like that makes it any better.
No, it's just an 8/8.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna go with a 1. I just don't see this seeing play.
Yeah, it's an 8/8 mech. If that makes a difference, can be magnetized.
Can be magnetized, yeah. All right, so Anfar, what's your thoughts on this one?
Oh, I already gave it a 1. Yeah.
Oh, you already gave it 1? Okay, cool.
Yep.
All right, so everybody's a 1 across the board on that one. So, we are to Glowstone Technician. So, Anfar, tell us about Glowstone Technician.
This is a 6 mana 3/4 with Battlecry. give all minions in your hand +2/+2. Hockey boys, what do you think about this?
Hand buff didn't work before. It's not going to work now. This is an easy one.
Agreed. Is like, yeah, Mean Streets of Gadgetzan is not in standard. And
Yeah.
even if it was, there was already a 5 mana that buffs at the end of turn. And that very rarely saw play. So, yeah, I think it's an easy one.
Yep, I'm saying the same thing. It would be a... if Don Honcho didn't see play, this doesn't.
Agreed.
Well, that was what? One, that was one creature gets 5/5?
Yeah.
One creature gets 5/5, and it was 7 mana for like a 5/6. Like a much better body for 1 more mana, bigger buffs.
6 mana 3/4 body is so bad.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah. No, it's awful.
Yep. The effect has to be worth more than 4 mana, and it's... or sorry, more than 3 mana. Anyway.
All right, so we're to the legendary spell for Paladin. So, Haki, tell us about Kangor's Endless Army.
It's the 7 mana legendary spell. You resurrect 3 friendly mechs, and they keep any magnetic upgrades. So it's a very interesting card, and you really have to think about how you're building your deck and how you're actually playing your minions. Because if you just get a 1/5 that doesn't get magnetic upgrades, that's not a good minion to get off of it. But if you get something with magnetic upgrades, then it can be really strong. I don't really know how to rate this at the moment. I'm gonna probably hear what Iron Fire and Force has to say, then I'll give a rating.
Do you want to start, or do you want me to, Force?
I'll start, I guess, on this one. Yeah, this is a tough one to rate. I'm leaning more towards a 2 just in the recognition of the effect. But you're right. If you're not able to ever magnetize anything to get an effect off of this, you're going to get a lot of shitty mechs back for 7 mana. And so I am leaning towards a 2, but it might even be worse than that. I might be giving it too much credit. But Iron Fire, what's your thoughts on this one?
I think this can definitely be good in the right deck. I'm going to give it a 3 for sure. I think it sees play in this expansion. Like, summoning 3 mechs is pretty huge for 7 mana. I also think it's a really cool, just very well-designed card that both you and your opponent have to, like, play into and around. It seems really fun. Like, your opponent has to try to rush to kill your, like, little bitty minions before they get magnetized, like your little bitty mechs. And you have to try to, keep your mechs alive so you don't have too many bad mechs in the pool. It's really fun. I like this card a lot.
I'll give it a 3, and then we'll see how it goes. I think it's either really strong or it's just really bad.
Yeah, same. It's really hard to evaluate.
All right, and with that, we wrap up Paladin. So not as high as Druid and Hunter, but definitely not as bad as Mage so far in terms of the average score. So now we move on to Priest, a class that's really looking for potentially a little bit of help here. Expanded. And we're going to start off with a 0 mana spell, Topsy-Turvy. Swap a minion's attack and health. So, let's start with Haki on this one. What are your thoughts on a 0 mana spell, Topsy-Turvy?
0 mana to do a Crazed Alchemist effect isn't that strong, I don't think. Like, you'd rather just be playing the body for the effect, just because you can have the body when you need it. I don't think, I think people are going to try it, and I don't think it's going to see play. And I think it's a lot worse than just running Crazed Alchemist in your deck. I'm going to give it a 1.
1.
Wow.
Iron Fire?
I'm going to give this a 4 because, okay, this can get discovered off of Shadow Visions. This does not get killed by Skulking Geist. Crazed Alchemist gets run in some decks, even though it's a 2 mana 2/2, which is really bad for its mana cost. So its effect is worth mana. Like, it's actually worth at least 1 mana. And the fact that this is 0 mana is absurd. 0 mana spells are always super duper strong. Plus Priest has all of these spell triggers, and maybe they're going to be running like decks with Reckless Experimenters and eggs, and this just kills off eggs on your side or your opponent's side. Like this has so many possibilities. It's got to be a great card, and 0 mana spells are always dangerous. I think this is an easy 4.
All right, so I'm not as high as Ironfire, but I'm definitely not to the 1 range either. I think this is a strong effect. It could also be some sort of an enabler with Shadow Reaper Anduin because it is a free spell. So anytime you have free spells that could potentially activate Shadow Reaper, is something to consider for this. I'm gonna go with a 3. I don't think it's a 1, and I think there is definite effects. You might be able to use this as some sort of a combo kill on something. As I said, with Anduin, might do a little bit more additional effects to it. So yeah, I'm gonna go with a 3 on this one. I recognize the effect is strong and the fact that it is 0 mana. So
I also don't think Combo Priest is a particularly strong deck at the moment, and I don't think it gets that much stronger by this expansion or by this card. So that probably skews my rating down a bit.
All right. So we are to test subject. So Hockey, tell us about test subject.
It's 1 mana, 0/2 minion, Death Rattle, return any spells you cast on this minion to your hand, and it looks like a leopard gnome in the card art. So, what do you think about this card, Ironfire?
This is a really, really hard card to evaluate. I think it's bad. The Murloc that did this never saw any play, did it? Or did it?
No.
Anyone know?
No, it didn't.
No, never saw play.
Nope.
Priest is maybe uniquely positioned to take advantage of this because they already like always run Power Word Shield, right?
Yeah.
And maybe there are another spell or two that you can make this work with. So I'm going to give it a 2 because I see there's potential here. But on the surface, it looks extremely bad. What do you think, Hockey?
I'm giving this a 1. And like people are coming up with these crazy combos onto how to get like infinite, or not infinite, but enough to enough divine shields and power word shields, or divine spirit and power word shields to like kill them in one turn with like a stone test bore. But I think the best combo with this is to play it and then concede because you're playing bad cards. So I'm giving it a 1.
Yeah, there are probably a lot of dream scenarios with Enterfire Divine Spirit combo priest that he's like, okay, you can throw everything on this one minion, and then if it does die, you get everything back. That's not a world I want to live in, and so I'm gonna give this a 1. I don't think this is that great of a card, and you probably want to play Northshire Cleric over this every single time.
Alrighty, moving on to Deadringer. You want to tell us about this one for us?
Sure. Deadringer is a 2 mana, a 2/1 that has a death rattle that says draw a death rattle minion from your deck. I'll just start off with this one. I think this is a 3. We're already running Quest Priest, and this is just a Quest Priest enabler, and it's 2 mana, 2/1. Better than getting a random death rattle from the 3 mana one that we currently have, I think. So, this is an enabler. I like it. 3 for that. So, Ironfire, what's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, if you're running Death Rattle minions in your deck, this is almost a strictly better loot order. Like, it's a mech, and usually you want to be drawing your Death Rattle minions anyway in those sorts of decks. So, 3, borderline 4. It's really, really good.
What Death Rattle minions do you want to be running? Like, drawing?
Well, I think when we look at Reckless Experimenter, maybe Cube, maybe Voodoo Doll, maybe Egg, maybe lots of possibilities. In Quest Priest, you want to be drawing your other Dead Ringers, your looters, your literally everything in your deck is Death Rattle.
Yeah, theoretically, you could get a Dead Ringer train going. Just like Death Rattle, draw a Death Rattle.
Yeah.
I'll probably give it a 2 because it has a little bit of potential in Quest Priest, but I don't think this is a particularly strong card. And I don't think that the Death Rattle Reckless Experimenter deck's going to be that good either.
Yeah, I don't think it is either, but
it has potential, maybe.
Quest Priest is good. Ish. Can be good. We'll see.
I mean, you did well with it, so.
I did once upon a time. There's a, place in my heart for Quest Priest.
All right, so we are to cloning device. So Hockey, tell us about cloning device.
2 mana spell, discover a copy of a minion in your opponent's deck. So it's kind of like Dracnoid's operative effect, but you don't get spells. And I think it's really bad, and you should not be playing this card in your deck.
Yeah, I tend to agree on that. It's like, yeah, the 5/6 body on Dracnoid operative was really what made that card. I mean, yes, you got the effect if you're holding a dragon to discover a card, but really a 5/6 was kind of the big draw, I think, of that. And just saying 2 mana draw, discover a copy of a minion in your opponent's deck is not as good as being able to find spells as well, because spells tend to be removal. So yeah, I think this is a solid 1.
Yeah, this is really terrible. One over here as well.
All right, moving on. We have the Omega card for Priest. It's a 3 mana 3/4, and as Battlecry, if you have 10 mana crystals, restore 10 health to your hero. What do you think about this card, Force?
If Priest has a controlling deck, I could see this getting play. I mean, it's not going to be like Druid where you're going to ramp this out quickly, but it could be a solid role player in some sort of a control Priest deck. I'm going to roll somewhere between 2 and 3. I think I'm going to roll towards the 3 on this one. I don't think it's a completely broken effect, but 3 mana 3/4 is pretty good. And if you do happen to have 10 crystals, get 10 health back is pretty good. So, Ironfire, what's your thought on this one?
I'm going to give this a 2. This is a great tech card. This is, in the mirror match, you heal 10 out of your opponent's burst range, like after the Alexstrasza against against Malygos Druid. Like, it's a good heal 10 in the late game as well against that. But it's not always going to see play in every meta. Like, you're going to just die to mech paladins and mech hunters rushing at your face if you're on a 3 mana 3/4. Like, before turn 10, half the time you don't even get to turn 10. And a 3 mana 3/4 is just meh. So, potential, I don't think it's very good.
Yeah, right. Against aggro, you want the effect a lot earlier than turn 10. But Zedalon thinks this is a good card, so I'll give it a 2.
Okay.
All right, so we are to a very interesting card here with extra arms. So this is a 3 mana. Give a minion +2/+2. Add more arms to your hand that gives +2/+2. So this is just a spell that cycles into itself, I guess, is you just get more buffs and you keep getting buffs and buffs and buffs until, or does more arms, or does that cut off right there?
It cuts off there. But imagine how many arms you can get with test subject.
Sure. Yeah, you can get. All right, so interesting effect. Hockey, what's your thoughts on this one?
I think it's worse than the unidentified elixir that we have now. And I think that decks that want to run an effect like this will just run that instead. And this isn't going to see any play.
All right, so that is a 1. All right, Ironfire?
I agree completely. 1.
And I cannot disagree with any of that. So it is a 1.
1's across the board.
One's across the board. So, all right, so we're to Reckless Experimenter. Ironfire, why don't you tell us about this one?
Yeah, so this is a 5 mana 4/6. Great stat line already. So, who knows what the effect may be. It's probably not very strong, right? Death Rattle minions you play cost 3 less, but die at the end of the turn. So, Force, you want to start telling us about this one? Or start rating this one?
Yeah, it's like something along. I don't know. This is one of these cards that, all right, cost reduction always good. So that's period 1. Point 1. Die at the end of turn. Yeah, I mean, it can get some pretty good effects for that effect. But you don't get to attack with them. They don't give them rush or anything else. But something is telling me there's some sort of combo that is going to come out of this that is going to become really, really annoying to play against. Mm-hmm. And plus, it fits in Quest Priest as well. I'm going to give this a speculative 3 because there's something here, and I don't know what it is yet. But this card just screams, we're going to be hating this card by the end of this expansion. And I don't know what it is. So, Hockey, what's your thoughts on this?
I don't think the deck that this is in is good. I like minions dying at the end of your turn isn't. I don't think that's a good effect, and the stats are just kind of normal for a 5 mana minion with an effect. Like letting them cost, playing them for 3 less cost is really strong, but like the downside of you didn't really play them because they die isn't that great. Like the benefit of having death rattle minions is that they're sticky and that they have an effect when they die, and that's why you play them, and they're kind of undercosted because of that. So you're kind of getting rid of one of those effects, and it's just kind of really undercosted. I'm gonna give it a 1. I just think it's kind of bad.
All right, Iron Fire.
This expansion, I don't think this is necessarily going to fit in a deck, but it's obviously such a strong effect. Like in the future, we're going to be saying this card was. It's like Hadronox. Like Hadronox didn't play for like multiple expansions, but now everyone's like, "Oh, Hadronox! I hate that card." So I feel like this is going to be like that. So I'm going to give it a 3. I'm not going to say it's a 4 and say it's broken yet. It's only broken if they trigger cards that make it broken, but 3 cost discount is a huge effect and not something taken lightly.
Because the most we've ever gotten before was what, Hunter, and that was a 2 cost reduction on Death Rattle minions, but they stayed around.
Not sure.
Yeah, and
am I off on something? I thought there was a Hunter minion or something like that said.
I think it's a worse body as well, but I'm not sure about that.
It is. All right, so we're to another spell. So, Ironfire, tell us about Powered Word Replicate.
Yes, this is a 5 mana epic spell that says choose a friendly minion, summon a 5/5 copy of it. Hockey, what do you think about this?
What minions do you want to replicate as a 5/5, and why aren't you playing Faceless? I don't have answers to those questions, and I don't think there are answers to those questions, so I'm going to give it a 1.
Yep, agreed. It's like, why would you want to do that? It's like, unless for some reason you just didn't want to play a 5-drop that, minion. Yeah, this is... Yeah, no. Because, I mean, I guess in the absolute worst case scenario, Faceless Manipulator, if you had to play it on a completely naked board, which even then, Faceless Manipulator allows you to copy opponent's stuff as well. This is only copy your stuff. This is a 1. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you're copying... So actually, the reason not to play Faceless would be for Zarek's cloning army, because you don't want your Faceless to come out, or to die because of any of the Priest to Resurrect tools. But I don't see why you wouldn't just run Vivid Nightmare over this. This seems way worse than Vivid Nightmare for combo decks. Like, you have to actually care about the 5/5 body, and I don't see a world where you ever care that it's a 5/5. Like, you're usually fine with it being a 1. So I'm also going to give it a 1. But I don't think it's totally crazy to say that this does not do the same thing as Faceless Manipulator, but Vivid Nightmare is 2 mana cheaper. So
the only thing I could see that might, again, it's not a standard application here, but Big Priest is still a thing in Wild. So maybe if you did Barnes into copy this for 9 mana, but I think they're a better place. Even
they have 2 mana Resurrect.
Yeah,
so
true. Very, very true. All right, so we are to the legendaries for the set, and we're going to start off with Zarek, Master Cloner. So this is a 6 mana 5/5 Death Rattle. If you cast any spells on this minion, resummon it. Now, I'll be honest, there's one effect on this that I am not 100% certain on, so I'm hoping y'all can answer this. When you're resumming it, does it resummon with the effects on it?
No, it summons as a 5/5.
Just summons 5/5. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, Ironfire, what's your thoughts on this one?
Well, I have one more question. If you Vivid Nightmare this, do both of them have the Death Rattle activated?
Yes.
Only the one?
They both do.
Interesting. Okay. I still think this is a 1. A 6 mana 5/5 is not great. A 6 mana 5/5 that resummons itself is okay, but it requires like multiple cards and multiple effects.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see this being something Priest wants to do. So
it's Cairn with the condition that you can't drop on 6.
Yes.
I would not like Cairn if it had a condition and you couldn't drop it on 6. I'm gonna give it a 1.
Yep.
Same here. And it's like, I don't think this is unless someone can come up with some weird combo potential something or other, this is a 1. Like,
I mean, even if you can get a board full of 5/5s, like every other combo is stronger than that, than a board full of 5/5s. Oakheart's stronger, Mally Ghost, Shutterwalk, everything. Everything.
So question: if Spirit Singer Umbra is out on this, does it summon 2 5/5s?
I guess so.
No,
okay.
because you have to play this after Umbra, and you don't have any spells on it.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, you can't use this with him.
I mean, if this was on the board, say it stuck for some unknown reason, then you play Umbra.
You need to play Umbra. You need to play Umbra. Oh, if you get one, I actually don't know how that works. It should work.
If you Vivid Nightmare, maybe you would get 3.
Oh, you would get like 4, right? Because if you Vivid Nightmare, I don't know how that works.
If you full. Oh wow.
No. You would have 3. You would have 3 on the board if you Vivid Nightmare. 2 that have 5/5, and then 1 that's a 5/1.
I'm sorry. Yeah, yeah. Okay. It's a weird card, but
would
yeah,
you just keep on resummoning? Maybe not.
No, because the one that gets resummoned from Vivid Nightmare won't have any spells on it, so that one stops the chain.
That's what I was asking earlier. If you played Vivid Nightmare on the...
Yeah, so, okay, so what would happen is you play Umbra.
Have the Death Trap.
You play Umbra when that's on the field. You play Vivid Nightmare, right? And then Vivid Nightmare makes a 5/1, so you have a 5/5 and a 5/1. Then the Vivid Nightmare gets summoned with this copy on it, so that summons another 5/5, but the 5/5 that gets summoned doesn't have anything, so that's when the chain stops.
You're right. That's true. Okay, yep.
Okay, I still think it's a 1. So, all right, so we're to the legendary spell. So, Hockey, tell us about Zarek's Cloning Gallery.
9 mana, summon a 1/1 copy of each minion in your deck, and I think this has potential in like a Malygos Felons combo priest that just like makes your spellstones more consistent, but that deck has more problems than spellstone consistency. I'm gonna give it a 2 because it has potential, and if it gets like early board clears in the form of spells for like turn 4 or 5 in the future, then that deck could be legitimately good. But right now, it's not going to see any play.
Yeah, I think this card is not great until it's totally busted. So I'm going to give it a 3 just because I really like the thought behind this card. And the fact that you can get like all your crazy spell damage stuff to get on the board and die and then resurrect it. And there's potential. I've already theory crafted a deck. This is like one of the only ones I've theory crafted.
Yeah, there's definitely something here, and I'm inclined to, again, between 2 and 3, I'm inclined to go towards the 3 because right now there's nothing here, but you have another expansion, you have another year after that, something's going to come out of this deck, and so it's a 3, but I don't know when it's going to happen or how it's going to work. So, all right, and that concludes Priest. Priest is our lowest rated class so far, so. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like they're getting a lot of help in this expansion. So, we are to the Rogue class.
Yeah.
So,
before we move on to Rogue, I need to go take a bathroom break. I'm rating Lab Recruiter a 4.
Okay.
And you guys can talk about it while
actually, you know what? I wouldn't mind a bathroom break real quick too. So, we're gonna take probably just a quick 5-minute break, and I guess we will be back in just a second because I need to as well. So. Do we have any music to put on, potentially?
Probably, maybe. Let me find something.
Okay. All right, cool. So we'll be back in just a moment.
Hey there, I'm Dr. Boom. I live to build things. And bombs mostly. So, come work with me, and we'll create all kinds of new inventions. And bombs mostly.
Science! You can go into success with no regrets when you work with Dr. Boom.
Oh, yeah! Technology!
You can work with the best and the brightest when you work with Dr. Boom.
Ginormous mechanical pneumatic gorilla robot arms for smashing everything. Giant.
What he said. Yeah.
Work with Dr. Boom.
Come add your skills to my team at Boom Laboratories. We're exploding. with opportunity.
Dr. Boom is not responsible for severed, exploded, or lost body parts. Revealing location of semi-secret
Alright,
lab is
guys,
punishable by
sorry.
death. Apply now.
What did you guys rate Lab Recruiter? Or did you guys take a break too?
I'm here, and then Force is gone. But Lab Recruiter, I do not think it's a 4, like you think. I know you think it's
Okay.
good in Miracle Rogue. And do you want to explain your reasoning?
Yeah, so I would not rate this card without the existence of the legendary spell, which we'll get to later. But I just think this has a lot of potential. You shuffle in your Falderai Striders, you shuffle in your Leroy Jenkins, shuffle in all sorts of things, and you can, like Pogo Hopper, and then you can control the end of your deck. And I think Rogue has enough minions that that effect is strong. This is like gang up with a 3/2 body, and a 3/2 body is good. And Rogue doesn't really have that many good turn 2 plays. Usually they just dagger up. I mean, you're not going to play this on 2, I guess, but against an aggro... No, I guess that's not a very good argument.
Against aggro, you might play it if you didn't play Firefly the turn before, or if you're trading in Firefly. But
Yeah.
it's
If you're
okay.
up against Shutterwalk, you need the 3 attack to kill their totems.
Like, I think
draw.
the strongest application is with Pogo Hopper. But like, I understand the putting in like extra spiders and putting in extra nailers like that. I just don't know how relevant that is, or how much you actually need that to beat control now. Like getting extra Leroy's is good too, I guess. I'll probably give it a 2. I think it has potential, but I don't think it's particularly strong like you think it is.
Yeah, I actually think I'm going to revise this to a 3. Because I think it's strong. I don't think it's like broken. I think this is a really good well-made card. But I don't
Yeah.
think-
All right, sorry.
What do you think, Force?
What card are we on? Sorry, I just
Lab Recruiter.
I mean, it's gang up on with a body, a 3/2 body, right? So, and gang up has seen play before. So, there's something here. I'm gonna give this a 3. I think it's a very, very solid card.
Cold Light died for this.
It did.
Speaking of a card that works with Lab Recruiter, we have Pogo Hopper, which is a 2-mana 1/1 mech, and it gains +2/+2 for each other Pogo Hopper you've played this game. And what do you think, Force?
Yeah, I'm thinking. I'm trying to think. I'm not 100% certain. Like, I guess if you're trying to do some sort of mill rogue and you wanted to have cards that you could draw into that would just be really big bodies, I guess eventually you could use this. But I mean, why would you not play like Edwin and other stuff that I think would be a lot better than this card? But I do recognize the power for a 2-mana 3/3 is your second option, and then from there it just gets crazy after that. I'm going to go 2. I recognize the power level. I'm just not ready to say this is going to be like a meta-defining card or even a good card at this point. So, because the first time you play it, it's going to be a 1/1, 2-mana 1/1. So, Ironfire, what's your thoughts on this one?
I think this can maybe slot into Quest Rogue today. I'm not exactly sure what you cut, but these +2/+2 effects go above any other buffs you've already had on it. So maybe that's one application. I think you could easily build a deck around this. I think there will be Pogo Hopper decks. How good that deck ends up being, I don't know. But this is like a reason to build a deck. It's such a strong effect that it can create a new archetype. So I'm going to go with a 3.
I agree with Ironfire. I'm going to give it the same rating.
Cool. So Necrium Blade, you want to start us out on this one, Force?
Sure. Necro Blade is a 3-mana weapon. Death Rattle. Trigger the Death Rattle of a friendly minion. So, Haki, what's your thoughts on this blade?
It's bad. Like, the Death Rattle, like, Rogue doesn't really play any Death Rattles. And a 3-mana 3/2 that doesn't do anything isn't good enough to see play as Fire War Axe is shown. And, like, you already have the dagger, so I don't think this is necessary. Shadow Blade's a better card than this. I'm going to give it a 1.
All right. Ironfire?
I don't think this is just a 1. This seems... I'm struggling to find what deck it would fit into now, but this with like Cube, this with any reasonably powerful Death Rattle is very powerful. It's a better Fiery War Axe. So I'm going to give this either a 2 or a 3. I'll go with a 2. So I don't see anything it fits in right now because so many Rogue Death Rattles suck, but
I'm gonna say
obviously a strong weapon.
I believe I'm actually gonna go a little bit higher than Ironfire on this one, I think. So, because Rogue is the only class that has the ability to break its own weapon with just a 2-mana hero power. And so you could potentially use this to trigger any death rattle at pretty much any time as long as you have 5 mana. I don't know the deck it goes in at this moment. I mean, the Legendary does have a very interesting ability that might come into play, but then you do have cubes and you have other stuff that you can potentially use. I'm gonna use this as 3. This can potentially be a nice little solid role player. If need be, you can even get an attack in with it before you break it with your hero power. So
yeah.
I still
All right,
think it
moving on
sucks.
to. Really, you think it sucks?
Yeah.
3/2 weapon for 3? That's always
Yeah. No, Fiery War Axe isn't good enough.
it's like, but I mean, we have Hunter has a Eagle Horn Bow, 3 mana, 3/2. That does get more durability, admittedly, but
I think there's a deck that this fits into one day, and it's going to be an all-star in the deck someday, but probably not this day. We're going to move on to Violet Haze. This is a 3-mana spell for Rogue that adds 2 random Death Rattle cards to your hand. And I think if the card we reviewed earlier that was like 2 mana and 2 random minions to your hand wasn't good enough, this probably isn't going to be good enough. So I'm going to give it a 1.
But it could get you extra. But it could get you extra of your, Kingsbane. It's not minions. It's that.
Yeah, there's a very low
it
chance
is
of
right.
that happening. This is
Very
worse than
low.
It can get you an unbuffed Kingsbane. Amazing.
Yeah, no.
So you can destroy your buffed Kingsbane with. Doesn't that sound great?
Yeah, sounds awesome. No, I agree. Yeah, this is a 1. I was just being. This is a 1.
Yep.
3 mana for two random cards now.
Burgo's better than this card.
Yeah. Yep.
It's more fun too. Like, this card's just kind of boring. This is another. Oh, we need another card for Rogue. All right, let's throw in random death rattles.
We spent all our brain power on Druid, giving them great cards.
Yes.
All right, Blight Nozzle Crawlers, a 4-mana 2/4 mech, death rattle summon, a 1/1 ooze with poisonous and rush, and I'm also giving this a 1. Like, the rush and death rattle is slightly counterintuitive, like counters each other, and this pretty much lets your opponent dictate how they're going to kill off the 1/1 ooze, which is most likely going to be a hero power by most of the classes.
Yeah, no, it was like the only way this would be good is if you have the ability to trigger it on your own turn, which I guess that means the blade could potentially be used, but then you're talking about a 9-mana turn to just kill one something. Yeah, no, I think this is a solid 1.
Yeah, I can't imagine putting this in a deck. So, 1 it is.
All right, the next card is Academic Espionage, and it's a 4-mana spell. Shuffle 10 cards from your opponent's class into your deck. They cost 1, and I want to hear what Ironfire has to say about this.
Oh boy, am I tempted to rate this like a 3 or a 4, just because, man, cards costing 1 is so strong. No matter what cards they are, almost like if their cost is reduced to 1, that's just some sick late game tempo. But I'm going to give it a 2. I probably should be giving it a 1, but man, do I want to rate this highly. I think this could be really strong with a lot of card draw.
Yeah, I think this might be a card that Miracle Rogue has been looking for. You can prep this for 1 mana, draw 10 cards, and have your card draw engine going. With this, I think this is a strong card. It does nothing to the board, yes, but it does, unless you're playing something like against Odd Paladin that all their things cost 1 anyway, so you're not getting that big of a benefit. But can you imagine this against Druid that you get, a Malagos for 1, a Hadronox for 1, a whole bunch of other things for 1 mana? The power level is there, and so I'm gonna give this a 3. I think this is going to be a card that, especially with the next card, if it's used in combination, it could be a very interesting card overall. So, Haki?
I'm giving this a 4. I get Corridor Creeper vibes from this, and I think it's the strongest card they've printed. And I think it's kind of crazy that they said it cost 1 instead of just costing 1 less, which is what they normally probably would do. Like the tempo gain that you get from 1 cost, like minions or spells, is like insanely powerful.
Yeah.
There's it's like 12% chance that one of your 10 cards is a Death Knight for 1 mana. You play this on 4. You play Witchwood Piper on 5, and then you draw one of your discounted minions that get put back in your deck, and you just gain back that tempo gain. Then like whenever you draw one of those cards, it's just like a huge tempo swing, which is what Corridor Creeper also gave you. Like, I think this is probably the strongest card they printed in the set.
Yeah, I think it's really, really good. It can be. I just don't.
Like, the problem with the card is that it's slow, right? It's 4 mana. You don't do anything on that. You get around that with prep. You get around it with lots of card draw.
Well, not just that. It's slow, and also you actually have to draw the cards, and it's a huge loss if you draw even a single bad card that's in your deck, even if it costs 1. If you draw, I don't know, what's a bad 1 mana spell? Or like the Priest 0 mana spell or something. If you draw those sorts of things, or like a backstab, that's like that's a card gone. It's like -1 card. So I think you have to pair it with a deck that has a lot of card draw, but then you have to have that card draw in your hand and this in your hand, and lose all the drawing, but then you gain it back. And man, I want it to be good, but it's hard to see it being good right now.
Like, I think you play it in Miracle with Auctioneer, and you play it with Witchwood Piper, and the Witchwood Piper draws like the cards for you and stuff, and you play Elven Minstrel, and I think it's just really, really powerful. And when you play it, you like almost win the game every time you draw some of those cards.
Yeah, you might be right. I feel like this is either a 1 or basically, and I just don't know how to evaluate it. It's very hard to evaluate.
It's like, think of how many times you draw spiders in Miracle Rogue, and you're only putting in like 6 spiders at most of the time, right? Like, you're drawing spiders a lot.
The spider is summon a 4/4 draw a card, not summon a 4/4.
Yeah. But it's like, the spider itself is how many times do you draw that, right? And you're shuffling in 10 instead of 3. Like, I don't think drawing the cards is an issue.
No, I'm saying drawing so many cards that you actually get use from them. Because if you draw 1 random card bad, you basically drew a card that said -1 card, add a bad card to your hand. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, like, I get it, and I think there's only like 1 or 2 situational spells in a class for that. Like, I think almost every minion is like insane at 1 cost. Like, even something average like Druid of the Claw is like crazy at 1 mana.
Yeah. And then if you're getting 8, like if you're getting a Lich King, or if you're getting something like that, then it gets even.
Well, you
better,
can't get class cards, but like the high rolls are so crazy that they just auto win you the game.
Class. Oh, got it. Okay, so yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. When I first saw this card, my gut reaction was it's a 4 for sure. Like, easy 4. It's such a busted great card. And yeah, I'm less high on it now, but I don't know.
Actually, you know what?
It could be great.
The more I'm looking at this, because I thought this was from your opponent's deck, but it's not your opponent's deck. It's your opponent's class. So like 10 cards from your opponent's deck was pretty good, actually. Now the more where am I at? 3? I'm gonna stay at 3 because anything for 1 mana is strong. But like, I thought this was cards from deck, not cards from just the class. So this is like a burgle that just burgles them all into your deck and turn them to 1. So maybe it's not as high as I thought it was, but
I'm not sure. Either I'm going to look like a fool, or it never sees play. But it's, yeah, boy, is it weird. It's a weird
Alright.
card.
Well, let's move on to the legendary spell for Rogue class, and this is Myra's Unstable Element. It is 5 mana, and the card text is simple: draw the rest of your deck. So, Haki, what's your thoughts on this legendary spell?
I think it's really powerful, and you put in Odd Rogue and you win games that you shouldn't because of it in Odd Rogue. Like Odd Rogue mainly loses because they run out of gas, not because they die by minion attacks, and this kind of stops that. So I'm gonna give it like a 4. I'm gonna give it a 4.
All right, Einfire?
Yeah, I think this slots into Odd Rogue right now, and it makes whole new archetypes possible. Like, it's a 4 in Odd Rogue, and a 4 just because of how absurdly strong it is going forward, potentially with other crazy archetypes. This is maybe the strongest card in the whole set. Like, as strong as Flute level strong. Like, really, really good.
Yep. Yeah, I think this is a 4 as well, just because, well, from my time in Magic, it's told me that anything that says draw your entire deck tends to be insanely powerful. And I think, this is going to be a class, this is not going to go into Miracle, but as you said, Odd, reload with 10 cards from your deck, even if you blow up the rest of your deck, is sort of okay. Like, you're fine with that, because usually you're going to probably end the game in the next couple turns anyway. So yeah, this is a 4. This is going to fit into a deck immediately, and it's going to be powerful.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of Alaneth that can't get destroyed by a weapon removal.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Absolutely. So, well, now that we talked about her unstable element, let's move to Myra Rotspring, the legendary creature for the Rogue class. So, Ironfire, tell us about Myra Rotspring.
Myra Rotspring is a 5 mana 4/2 who must have an insanely strong effect to justify that stat line. Let's hear it. Battlecry, discover a Death Rattle minion, also gain its Death Rattle. Why, that's not very strong at all, so I'm going to give this a 1.
Agreed. There are, I believe I saw something on competitive Reddit that basically walked through all the Death Rattles that Myra could potentially get, and they were basically like, there was 1 or 2 good ones, and the rest were just absolutely horrible. And on top of that, a 4/2 body, yeah, no thanks. It's a 1.
Yeah, it's a value card in a class that can't play value cards. It's a 1.
Literally, the only way this ever is even considered to see play ever is if there's some, like, a slew of 10 cost Death Rattle minions that have, like, the most powerful Death Rattles in the game, and this cheeses that out sometimes. Like, even then it's not guaranteed, and then most of the time it's garbage. Yeah,
unfortunately Enzoth has not been around for a while now.
If Mecha Cthulhu didn't have restrictions, then I would maybe play the card.
Maybe.
Okay. That's funny.
Alright, moving on.
All right.
We have Necrium Vial. 5 mana spell. Trigger a friendly minion's Death Rattle twice. Alright, going on to the last card on Rogue. We have Crazed Chemist.
Wait.
No,
Are we going to talk about the Hunter minion without the 3/6 body? That's what this is.
There's a Hunter minion that triggers a Death Rattle twice?
Well, the Hunter thing is trigger a Death Rattle twice on a 3/6 body, like the continuous effect, and this is a Battlecry without a body.
No, that's Death Rattles trigger twice, not trigger a Death Rattle twice.
Yeah. But, like, it's kind of the same thing, and it's really bad.
I'm going to give this a 2 because Rogue has prep and because Cube exists, and I think it can actually enable combos. This is not a 1 in my mind. This has actual potential.
I'm gonna roll with the 1, I think, but I definitely see the potential there. For that, but yeah, I see it, but I mean, is any rogue deck right now playing cube?
No.
Yeah,
No, but they could. They get a weapon as well.
Sure.
It could. I don't think it's gonna happen though.
It probably needs a little bit more help than just this expansion to get there, though.
And
It
good
does.
death rattles.
That's the biggest thing. Anyway, we can keep moving on. I
Alright,
just think
so-
it has potential.
All right, so last rogue card, Crazed Chemist, 5 mana, combo. Give a friendly minion +4 attack. It's a 4/4.
I mean, combo
So-
give a friendly minion +4 attack is Cold Blood. And Cold Blood is a 1 mana worth of, it's like a 1 mana card. And so this is kind of like a 4 mana 4/4, which is bad. I'm going to give this a 1.
Are you ever gonna play this over Fungal Mancer? And I think the answer is no.
No,
Yeah,
Yeah,
agreed.
that's a 1.
It's a 1.
Yeah, cool.
So is rogue now our lowest class? No, actually, no. Priest is still lower.
No, they
Oh,
got 2
crap.
busted cards. They could have like
They got 2 busted.
the rest could be unplayable and it'd still be good.
Yep.
Sure. So all right. So
Let's move on.
let's move on to shaman.
We got 3 classes.
Huh?
We got 3 classes left and neutrals.
And neutrals. So
We got to go.
we're getting there. We're getting there. All right. So first card is Berserk Lightning, 0 mana, deal 1 damage to all minions, overload 2. So, Ironfire, what's your thoughts on this one?
This is very good. I'm giving it a 3. You would run it in Shudderwalk today just because it triggers your Acolytes of Pain and it kills all the Paladin cards. Like it. Maybe it doesn't always work, but when it's strong, it's extremely strong. It's better than Lightning Storm, probably. So
Agreed.
All right.
I'm giving it a 3 too. It also kills off your totems when you have spell damage totem, which is kind of relevant.
that's really good.
It's good. So, yeah, this is a 3. We said earlier 0 mana spells. You should always pay attention to them, and I think Beakered Lightning is no exception here. So, Ironfire, tell us about Voltaic Burst.
Voltaic Burst is a 1 mana spell with Overload 1. It says summon 2 1/1 sparks with Rush. And I don't know. These 1/1 sparks with Rush are like the things I'm not sure about in this whole game. So someone else start with this one. Hockey, you start with this.
Assuming that
It's Alley Cat with Rush that has Overload 1, and I think that's pretty strong. Like I think it sees play in a tempo deck. I'm gonna give it a 3. Tempo tokens decks.
So, quick question about this card, because apparently the sparks are elementals.
Yeah.
So, does that mean, will it trigger if you play the elemental last turn, or
Nope.
does that have to be from hand?
No,
It has to be played.
Okay. That makes it a little bit weaker, but I can't ignore the fact that it is 2 1/1s with Rush. And as you mentioned, Alley Cat was a 1 mana 2 1/1s that had nothing else with it besides being one of the cats being incredibly cute. I'm gonna give this a 2. I'm not insanely high on it, but I think it's a reasonable card.
I'm also
So-
going to give it a 3. It pairs with the 2 mana spell that buffs an elemental to your hand. And it's incredibly good with Flame Tongue
Oh wow, you're right. I
Incredibly
forgot
good.
about
Yep.
Flame Tongue.
and Direwolf
Ooh.
and all of that kind of stuff.
Oh, the only issue is one cost. It doesn't fit into even Shaman.
It doesn't. I think we might be seeing Bloodlust Shaman come.
I think Token Shaman's gonna be pretty good. Like not
I
even.
think it is. So I think this is a good card in that deck.
All right, the next card is a 2 mana 2/2 Menacing Nimbus Elemental Battlecry. Add a random elemental to your hand. Random elementals are bad. 2 mana 2/2 is bad. Giving this a 1.
I'm going to give this a 2 just because I think this slots into an elemental deck.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with 2. It's like, because it's not the best effect, but in an elemental deck, even bad elementals are okay because they'll trigger your bigger elementals later on down the road. So, I'll do a solid 2 on this one.
Okay, Omega Mind is a 2 mana 2/3 with a Battle Cry. If you have 10 mana crystals, your spells have life steal this turn. Will, what do you think about this card?
Something tells me this is going to combo with a few spells in Shaman, including Volcano, maybe Lava Burst, maybe Lightning Storm, maybe even Berserk Lightning. or Beaker Lightning. Did I say Berserk the first time? I meant Beaker Lightning. There's a lot of cool little 1-2 combos with this that could be relatively reasonable. I think it's gonna be a 2. I'm not ready to say this is gonna be a 3, like a game breaking 2-mana card, but there's a lot going on here that I do like. So I'm gonna go with 2. So Haki, what's your thoughts on this one?
I think the one deck you would see playing is Shudderwalk Shaman, and you don't really want to cut anything for this in Shudderwalk Shaman, so I'm gonna give it a 1.
Yep. I'm borderline 2, but I'm also going to give it. It's really hard to see it. Halaziel never, or not Halaziel. Maybe Halaziel. Whatever that elemental was that he does this.
Halaziel.
Never saw play. Yeah, never saw play. So this is cheaper, which makes it better, but I don't know.
Chat's asking about something you said, Ironfire. You said something about buffing elementals in your hand. Could you elaborate on that a bit? Because I'm not sure what that means. Or if that was just an accident or something.
I meant to say the card that buffs an elemental and adds an elemental to your hand. 2-mana card.
Oh, okay. So you weren't talking about that. Okay. Alright, makes sense. Well, moving on. We have a 2-mana spell. Elementary Reaction. Draw a card. Copy it if you played an elemental last turn. And I think this is pretty good in Shudderwalk Shaman.
Yep. This seems tailor-made for Shudderwalk.
I'd give it a 2, because I don't know if Shudderwalk wants to cut Keleseth that much.
Well, there's been a lot of Shudderwalks that don't run Keleseth, though, too. I think probably the best version of Shudderwalk runs Keleseth, but
definitely.
But I've seen some do it before. But this is potentially becomes a 2-mana draw too, even if it does have a caveat built into it. I'm gonna go with 3. I'm gonna go with 3 because this is a 2-mana potential draw too. So
yeah, I'm also gonna give it a 3. It's a cheaper mimic pod. Maybe it slots into even shaman. I don't know very much about the deck. Anyway, I think it has potential. Maybe I should give it a 2, but I'm gonna give it. Moving on to Electra Storm Surge. Actually, I'm going to give that a 2. What am I thinking? I gave it a 2 on another spreadsheet where I actually thought more about it, so I'm going to give it a 2. Electra Storm Surge. This is the 3-mana 3/3 elemental with Battlecry. Your next spell this turn casts twice. It was one of the first cards announced, so everyone talked about how crazy and great it was. So I'm going to give it a 4 and not say anything else about it and let you guys talk about
it. It's crazy and great. I'm also giving it a 4.
Great.
Yep, crazy and great. There's too many combos you can do in the same turn with this between Healing Rain, Volcano, you name it.
Lightning Storm.
Lightning Storm.
Volcanic. Voltaic Burst. Get 4/1/1s with Rush.
Yeah.
Bloodlust. +6 to all minions.
Yep. They're crazy. They're
strong.
all crazy. It's good. Thunderhead. What is this? Tell us about this hockey.
So,
sorry.
who do you want to?
No, you go for it.
All right, cool. So the Thunderhead. This is a 4-mana elemental 3/5. After you play a card with Overload, summon 2 1/1 sparks with Rush. So, and this is not a battle cry. This is every single time you do a Overload on this. So, Haki, what's your thoughts on this one?
This card's nuts. Especially in the token one, or even just in a control shaman. You play this with Lightning Storm, you get 2 extra 1 attacks to finish off minions that you didn't get the higher number on. All the pros that have been playing it pre-release says that this is one of the best cards from the set, and I tend to agree, and I'm going to give it a 4.
All right, Ironfire?
Yeah, if you compare it to Violet Teacher, it just does so much more. So I'm also going to give it a 4.
Yep, that seems reasonable as 4 for this one. It seems like a really, really strong card, just overall. All right, so we are to Storm Chaser. Haki, tell us about Storm Chaser.
Storm Chaser is a 4-mana 3/4 elemental. Battlecry, draw a spell from your deck that costs 5 or more, and there's 5 cards in Shaman. 5 spells that cost 5 or more. They're Bloodlust, Volcano, the Spellstone, Eureka, and the new legendary spell. I think the card's okay, but I also think it's getting overhyped. I'm gonna give it a 2. I think it has potential, but it's not gonna be insane. Like, yeah, 2, borderline 3, but more of a 2.
So basically, if you're playing a aggro deck, it's draw Bloodlust. If it's Shudderwalk, it's draw Volcano, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are usually going to be the only ones. Eureka, I don't think Eureka is going to.
Oh, we're going to talk about Eureka. We're going to talk about Eureka.
So I like this. I think it's a solid 3. The body could be a little better, but
yeah, I'm borderline 2, borderline 3. I don't really know. Let me look at my other spreadsheet, see what I put down. Storm Chaser, I put a 3 out of 5. Great, put a 3. Let's move on.
So speaking of Eureka, it's our next card. 6 mana, spell, summon a copy of a random minion from your hand, and I'll let Ironfire talk about this.
Yeah, so this effect has always been strong. We've seen Recruit Warrior, we've seen Big Priest with the 6 mana to get a 5/5 from your deck, and the fact that it is a copy and not the actual minion, absurdly good. It means you still have the minion in your hand. You can still play another Eureka. You can combo this with the legendary Electra Storm Surge and get 2 enormous minions from your hand.
oh wow, you're right.
And Shaman already has a bunch of Death Rattle. Like, Shaman already has synergies with big minions. There's already Overload Shaman. So this, I think, slots very neatly into Overload Shaman and is maybe good enough to make it good. I am borderline 4 on this, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a 3. But I think this card's absurdly strong.
Yeah, it's like, and the fact that it's from your hand and not from the deck means you can set up the scenario to be whatever you want. You know what? I'll take the plunge. I think this is a 4. It's like, says you can set it up to, you can set up what card it summons from your hand. Yeah, I think this is a solid 4. Like, that just seems insanely powerful. So, Hockey?
I'm gonna go on the other end, and I'm gonna give it a 1. I think that the effect's kind of powerful, and it lets you double up on the minions in your hand, which is important for like control priests. Control shamans and like overload shaman. I just don't think the deck's there yet, and I don't think the deck is gonna get there, so I'm gonna give it a 1. The card itself is strong.
Party at 1 too. Remember that.
No, I'm ready to be wrong on that, but I don't think it's gonna be played.
Yeah, no, since it's from your hand, though, it just seems like it's really strong because you can set up some really crazy, scenarios from your hand. If it was from the deck, I would probably be closer to the 1, but...
You also have, like, Malygos Implications, where you play this with double Lightning Bolt, and that's 16 damage for 8 mana, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Or Electra into this, and then your Lightning Bolts do a ton, and you have 2 Malygoses on the board and 1 in your hand still. It's just craziness. I think it's way better than people think. I know people haven't been rating this highly, but I think it's really.
All right, so we're to the final shaman spell, and it is the legendary spell for the set, the Stormbringer. Transform your minions into random legendary minions. Now, I'm assuming this is the ones that are already on the board, since this doesn't say in board, hand, and deck, right?
No, yeah, it's just on board.
Just on board. All right, so, Ironfire, what's your thoughts on the Stormbringer?
Oh man, when you first read the text, you're just like 1 insta-1. But I don't know. There's maybe potential. I don't. Why would you ever run this over Bloodlust? I'm gonna give it a 1. I'm giving it a 1. But maybe in like an Evolve-ish Shaman, the average of legendaries is high enough that you can then evolve them into. I don't know. I'm giving it a 1. Hockey, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 1. I just think Bloodlust is better. It has implication. There's I think like the only time it's gonna see play is when you get it from like discover effects or random effects.
But even then, do you want it like for every 1 really good legendary minion, there's about 3 terrible ones that you never want to see.
If you're playing even shaman, you want this and you want to play this. This is better than totems.
Yep, you play it in a totem deck or a 1/1 spark deck. That's where it sees play.
Or even shaman. I'll get to that later.
I'm gonna go
It
one.
can't
I'm gonna go.
do that.
It can, and I'll talk about it later when we see some
Okay.
neutral cards.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm gonna go one. I just don't see this. It's like you would have to roll high to make this worth it. Like really, really high to make this worth it. So now is Shaman. The Shaman is the best reviewed class so far.
Shaman's the best reviewed. Hype.
Yeah. It's like, well, we had 2 4s, so we had a few other. Most of the others were high 3s, stuff like that. So
Prepare to face the wisdom of the seas. Sorry. Move on.
All right, so let's move over to Warlock. So, and we're going to start off with a card that I think is just really, really strong. This is the Warlock legendary spell. The Solarium is draw 3 cards at the end of your turn, discard them. So, Ironfire, what's your thoughts on?
Oh, it's crazy good. Crazy strong. 4 for sure. 1 mana draw 3 is absurd. Later in the game in a zoo deck, you can play 2 out of the 3 of those, maybe even all 3. So yeah, this is great.
Yeah, I agree. Hearthstone finally has its ancestral recall, and it's a legendary Warlock spell. It's draw 3 cards, and it does not turn 1 play, but this would be top deck of the century in some zoo matchups. Pretty much any matchup I can think of. So
it's really good in zoo. It lets you draw burst.
You can't play it in a Gul'dan deck, or if you do, you're rolling the dice. But
you are. But even you set up like once you have Gul'dan in hand or something like that, because you're only discarding those cards. You're not discarding just 3 random at the end of turn. So even that's not the worst case scenario. You just have to set it up properly. But
anyway,
this is a 4.
We're all in agreement here.
This is a 4. Yeah, this is easily a 4. So
Soul Infusion. Forrest, you want to talk about this?
Sure, yeah. Soul Infusion is give the leftmost minion in your hand +2/+2. Hand buff Warlock? Question mark?
Yeah, it's kind of bad. Like like Hunter had a +2/+2 for 1 attack for 1 mana, and that never saw play, and I don't think this is going to see play.
I think the only 1 mana hand buff your hand like this that saw play was the Paladin one, right? That's give all your minions +1/+1.
And that one didn't really even see play.
Not that much, no. Yeah, this seems like a 1.
I'm giving it a 1. Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 2 because it can be controlled, and it works. It has some synergies with some other minion set, especially one that's I think very strong. We'll get to later. I'll talk about this more later.
All right, so we are to Demonic Project, another very highly hyped card. So, Haki, tell us about Demonic Project.
It's 2 mana, and it's a spell. Each player transforms a random minion in their hand into a demon, and on ladder, this is an easy 1, and I think it might see play in tournaments. Depends how good Shadowwalk Shaman is, and Malygos Druid. So it's like it's a 1 for ladder, and it's like a 2 for tournaments. So you can put me down for 1.
1. All right, Ironfire.
I'm in the same boat. I think it's going to be a tech card sometimes, so I'm going to give it a 2 because it does have potential.
Same as everybody was early comparing this to Dirty Rat, and the difference is Dirty Rat pulled it out and you could eliminate it immediately. This is not the case with Demonic Project, and you might transform a bad minion into something a lot stronger than that. So yeah, this is a probably a 2 for a tech card. There are gonna be some matches where you want it, but not everyone. So we are to Void Analyst. So Ironfire, tell us about Void Analyst.
Void Analyst is a 2 mana 2/2 demon with a death rattle. Give all demons in your hand +1/+1. I'm just going to go ahead and review this now. If it was a Battlecry, I don't even know if I see play. The fact that it's a death rattle means. Hockey?
Yeah, I'm giving it a 1. I just don't see why you're running this over Keleseth.
Yeah.
Nope. Agree. Yeah, Keleseth gives not only just the demon. There's a few things going against this. 1 is too specific because it's give all demons in your hand, and 2, it means you can't play Kelsoth. So yeah, this is a 1.
Yeah, too many restrictions.
Yep. All right, so we are to Spirit Bomb. So, Hockey, you want to tell us about Spirit Bomb?
It's a 2-mana spell. Deals 4 damage to a minion and your hero. I think it slots into Even Lock pretty nicely, and it kills things like Henchland Thug and Flappy Bird when they play it on 3. Like, gonna give it a 3. I think it's pretty strong.
I'm just gonna jump in real quick. I agree, strong. Plus, if you're holding the Spellstone, then it powers that up as well because it is damage to your heroes occurring. So, I like this. So, I'm gonna give this a 3 as well.
Yep, I'm also giving it a 3, but kind of a soft 3. It's not that great. Nether Soul Buster. This is a 3-mana 1/5 demon with a Battlecry. Gain +1 attack for each damage your hero has taken this turn. Force, what do you think about this one?
So I'm trying to think. Best case scenario would be
You're chalky and you got an 18-6. He got an 18-6 on the stream.
he got 18-6 on the stream with this card.
Yeah.
Good lord! All right.
That was incredible.
But was that a best case scenario, or is that something that you can reasonably pull off throughout?
I mean,
I'm
that
gonna
was
give
a best case scenario, and he had 1 health for the rest of the game.
I'm gonna give this a 2. I'm not gonna say it's not strong, but I don't know if this is, And plus, even if you do take that much damage, it's a 18-6 with nothing. Like, there's no taunt, there's no protection, there's no benefit to making a creature this big. And plus, it's a demon, so even if you play this with a deck with skull, it's gonna get pulled out and you get nothing. You get a 3-mana 1/5. So, Ironfire, what's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I feel like I should probably be giving this a am, but I'm going to give it a 3. I think it's pretty good. There's that 1-mana 1/3 that deals 5 damage to you and gains you 5 armor that this pairs very well with. There's this new Spirit Bomb this pairs very well with. It pairs well with Flame Imp. Basically, everything in the Heal Zoo is damaging your face. I think this just pairs well. It's not a 3-drop, which sucks, which is why I think it should probably be lower than that. But I just see potential in this card, and I want to give it a 3.
It reminds me of Duskbat, and I'm going to give it a 2 because I think it has potential, but I don't think it's going to be particularly strong. Like, it's going to be alright when you play it, but it's not going to be like, wow, I was super happy that I was playing Nether Soul Buster.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Well, the next minion is Doubling Imp, and it's a 3-mana demon, 2/2 Battlecry. Summon a copy of this minion. Wow, this is good in Shudderwalk Shaman.
It's like, unfortunately, Warlock doesn't have that. So I think your best case scenario is Kelsoth 2, this on turn 3?
If you top deck it.
If you top deck it. Yeah, I think it's a 1. It's like, well, I don't know. It's still, and I'm actually going to adjust that too, because it is a 3-mana 4/4 split across 2 bodies. So there is that at least. So yeah, I'll give it a 2.
I'm like 3 borderline 4 on this. This is definitely better than Landscape. Give Landscaping. That was 2, 2, and a 3. This is for sure better than Landscaping. And it has synergy with Soul Infusion. It has synergy with Kelsoth. Yeah, I don't know. I think this could see play.
I do think that this and Landscaping fill 2 different roles though, because it's like Landscaping's good because you can play it in an Oaken Summons deck. I think this is okay. I'm gonna give it a 2 as well with another Soul Buster. Like, it's good with Kelsoth, and it's good if you're playing the if you're not playing Kelsoth and you're playing the 2-mana demon that gives +1/+1 to all the demons in your hand, then it's good. Like, once it's a 3/3, then it's a good minion, but at a 2/2, it's like, okay.
That's it. But
Actually, give it a 3, because after Kelsoth, this is a good minion.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
this is a really good minion after Keleseth. Alright.
And it's a demon. It can get buffed. I think it's pretty good.
It's like until you play Gul'dan and you get 2 of these back, it's just like, like,
Just don't play Gul'dan and Zoo.
Yeah, don't do that.
Actually, I'm kind of tempted to give this a 4, but I'll leave it as a
Dude,
3
I
because
know.
it's not good
I was-
without Keleseth.
Yeah, I was real close to giving it a 4. It's very good. Anyway,
Alright, so we're to Omega Agent. So this is a 5 mana 4/5. That's Battlecry. If you have 10 mana crystals, summon 2 copies of this minion. So you move it from a 4/5 to a 12/15 worth of stats. So, Anfire, what's your thoughts on this one? Because this is also another one's gotten a little bit of discussion around it.
yeah, my first thought was that this was garbage. Because a 5 mana 4/5 is garbage.
Mhm.
And on turn 10, your opponent's going to be killing you with Shudderwalk, Malygos, and all that jazz. So I still think it's garbage. But I'm going to give it a 2, because that is a lot of stats. And maybe it's like a counter to Biology Project being played a bunch or something. We'll see.
Easy one. It's just bad. I don't want to just play a bunch of stats on 10. I want to play something that does something on 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm more inclined to go to the 1 on this one. I think, yeah, it's not a demon. So, I mean, if you could start getting this back from with Gul'dan, maybe we could have a discussion, but it's just a 4/5 that gets you 2 other 4/5s that on turn, when you have 10 mana crystals, it's not that great. Not that great at all. So, we are now to Ectomancy. Interesting card. Ironfire, why don't you tell us about Ectomancy?
Yeah, this is a 6 mana spell that summons copies of all demons you control. Yeah, go ahead and you can talk about this, Hockey.
1. It's a redundant effect, but it's worse than what you can do otherwise with like Faceless or Cube. Like it goes in Cube Block, but it's kind of bad in Cube Block, and it's not what Cube Block needs. And it's not particularly strong in Zoo, because Zoo just floods with other minions regardless. So I just don't think it has a fit.
Yeah, no, the effect's too expensive. The effect is too specific. I think this is a 1.
Yeah, me too.
Does it heal you to
On to-
15 if you have Jiraxis in play? Like, if you're Jiraxis, will it play another Jiraxis? Because that might be
No.
okay.
It doesn't do the battle cry.
It just summons it.
Access is just a 350.
So would that put a 315 on the board if you are Jiraxis? Like, how does that work?
Interesting. I don't know. I don't think you control Jiraxis.
Nobody controls Jiraxis.
Yeah. That's an interesting question, though.
I would say the only other thing I could potentially see this as is, say you bust a cube that has a couple Doom Guards, and then you just copy them and get like 20. But again, there are better ways to do that.
Yeah.
Alright. The legendary minion is Dr. Morgan, and it's an 8 mana 5/5 death rattle. Swap this with a minion from your deck. Does anyone think this is good? Or can we just go next?
Nope.
Alright,
Nope.
let's go next.
Oh, before we go next, we are to our second
Raffle.
raffle, yes. So, again, this is from the Captain Survey. So these packs are going to be coming from Durden, and we're going to do a random 153. Sorry, Brasky, you cannot win twice. We have number 36. So 36 is Excelsior. So congratulations to Excelsior for winning 10 packs of the Boomsday Project from Durden. So,
Nice, congrats.
congrats.
Hooray.
That's
Yes.
Casey Clark on Discord.
Casey Clark on Discord. Awesome.
Uh-oh. Both content creators won. Seems rigged.
Alright. So,
All right.
so warrior cards.
Uh-huh.
First
Omega
one.
Assembly. 1 mana, discover a mech. If you have 10 mana crystals, keep all 3 cards. Force, go ahead and start us out with this.
Again, 1 mana, draw 3, even if it has to be late game. It's pretty good. But even in an early game, it's not the worst thing in the world because you're discovering a mech. So it basically cycles if you're not at 10, and if it's at 10, you draw 3. I like this as a 3.
I want to point out that this is the highest rated card we've seen so far in Hearthstone top decks for some reason.
It is.
And it's not the strongest card we've seen. I think it is powerful and strong, and it lets something like Odd Warrior have more proactive plays and less reactive plays because the deck is all reactive. I'm going to give it a 3. I think it's good in Odd Warrior.
Yeah, everyone keeps saying this card is pretty good, but I think a lot of the mechs are kind of bad. I don't see it as being as good as everyone thinks. I'm going to give it a 2. We'll see. It does have potential.
Alright, the next card is Eternium Rover. It's a 1 mana, 1/3 mech. Whenever this minion takes damage, gain 2 armor. What do you think, Ironfire?
Oh, I mean, now this card is great. 1 mana, 1/3 mech, already good. The effect is just icing on the cake. I'm going to give this a 4.
Yep. Again, it's a odd costed card. Could easily fit into some sort of a control shell. And then you can start taking, doing your whirlwinds and everything else to potentially get some effect out of this. I like it. I don't know if I'm up to a 4 necessarily, but because it only does have 3 health, so the most you can get from this is 6 without buffing it. But I did like it as a 3.
Guys, we gave Glowtron a 4, and this is better than Glowtron.
Oh, this is worse than Glowtron. A lot worse than Glowtron.
I think so.
Yeah, having Magnetic's a lot better than the effect. Like, Mech Temple
right.
Warrior doesn't really care about it that much. And in, like, an Odd Warrior, this is really good. Like, it's insane on 1, and then it's kind of like, okay, for the rest of the game. I'll give it a 3. But it's like close to a 4 kind of 3. I just don't think it's a 4. Because I don't think Mech Warrior is going to be that great compared to the others.
Yeah, I'm not sure what deck it fits in, but boy, is that a good card.
Yeah.
Moving on, we have Weapons Project. 2 mana spell. Each player equips a 2/3 weapon and gains 6 armor. And I just want to point out that this is rated 3.1 out of 5 on Hearthstone top decks, and the last 2 cards are rated 4.8 and 4.6.
Yeah.
Weird.
Really weird.
What do you think about this hockey?
I think the card is everything a Control Warrior wanted, and I think it's really strong in a Control Warrior. But whether a Control Warrior is going to be good or not, that's a different question. I'm probably going to give it a 3, and it's like a 2.5 round up to 3 kind of 3.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think this is a 3 because right now, like the best thing, like for something like a, let's use like Quest Warrior for example. Right now, there's really not a whole lot of good turn 2 plays. You really don't want to play the nice little raptors on turn 2, but this seems like a much better turn 2 play. This is that you get 6 armor and you get a 2/3 weapon out of it. I like it. I'm gonna go 3 on this one. I think it's a solid 3.
I'm also going to go 3, and then I keep forgetting that 4 means busted, so I'm going to modify my last one to 3 instead of a 4. Instead of just like really, really good. Like it needs to be like almost nerfable good. So yeah, this is a good card. 3 for sure.
The next card is Rocket Boots. It's a 2 mana spell. Give a minion rush and draw a card. And I think it's bad and it's not going to see play. And it's an easy 1 for me.
Yeah, same here. Anyone think it's good for us?
Nope. Maybe in an arena, but definitely not in standard.
Cool. Let's move on to Super Collider. Tell us about it, Force.
Sure. Super Collider is a 5-mana weapon with 1 attack, 3 durability. After you attack a minion, force it to attack one of its neighbors. If your opponent has a Stubborn Gastropod, this is going to be the highlight card in your deck, but not every deck runs that. I think this is a 1.
I think this is unique enough that in specific metas it's going to be an outstanding tech card, so I'm going to give it a 2.
Well,
in the reveal video, they showed 2 giants colliding into each other, and that was great. And I think this is like 2 borderline 3, but definitely at least a 2.
I'm going to give it a 1. The minion that you want to attack is going to be the one with the higher attack. And like the Death Knight weapon's good because you can just not take a lot of damage, or this you have to take a lot of damage, and you don't even get to choose which one of the neighbors it attacks, so it's kind of random. And lots of times it's going to be a 50-50 on the one you want to attack and the one you don't. So I just don't think it's good enough to see play.
Yeah, I think in certain metas would be good.
Potentially,
anyway,
yeah. All right.
Dynamatic.
5 mana, 3/4 mech. Battlecry, deal 5 damage, randomly split among all minions except mechs. and I think this is also really bad in a 1. And I'm curious if you guys think it's good.
Nope, agree. It's like there's already, I think there's like a 4 mana something that deals 5 damage among all minions, and that doesn't see play. So, yeah, I think it's a 1.
Interesting. If you're the only one without minions, like Cinderstorm on a 3/4 mech body.
No,
I'm
Cinderstorm that doesn't go face. That's also a big deal.
Yeah, for sure, but not a big deal to warrior kind of.
It's
I don't know. I'm giving it a 2. It's good in Odd Paladin metas. It's terrible in Malygos Druid and Shudderwalk Shaman metas. So
it's like undercosted because Blizzard likes to think that warrior likes to deal lots of damage to their own minions when they haven't really since Grim Patron.
sure,
All right, the next
Alright.
card.
it's unique.
Yeah.
Security Rover, 6 mana, 2/5 mech. Whenever this minion takes damage, summon a 2/3 mech with taunt. 1.
If Hogger didn't see play, I believe Hogger was the same cost and the same effect, just a little slightly worse on the taunt. Was a 2/2 taunt versus 2/3. It didn't see play. I don't see the scene play. It's a 1.
Yeah,
The ones all around.
the Hogger for that was a 7 mana 6/6 that just
Oh,
summoned a
yeah.
2/2 with taunt, which was like a lot better than this.
Oh yeah, world's better than this. And it still didn't see that much play.
The fact that it's a mech, maybe something, but almost certainly not. Moving on to Beryllium Nullifier. 7 mana, 3/8 mech with magnetic. Can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. Force.
This is missing one keyword, I think, to make it okay. And since it's missing that keyword, I do not think it will see play, and it's missing taunt. And since it's missing that keyword, I think most players will probably just ignore it. It's a 1.
Yeah, I think it's also a 1.
Yeah.
If it were an 8/3, it would be great.
It would be amazing at an 8/3, but like it's so yeah, it's really bad. All right,
Yeah.
on to the legendaries.
Ooh.
Yes.
We got the legendary hero, Dr. Boom, Mad Genius. 7 mana, Battlecry for the rest of the game. Your mechs have rush, and he has 5 different hero powers. One is 7 armor, one is 1 damage AoE, one is summon 3 1/1s with rush. Well, 1/1 mechs that have rush because of the Battlecry. There's deal 3 damage, and then there's one more. I'm trying to remember what the last one is.
Discover a
Did you say
mech.
Discover a mech.
Yeah, discover a mech.
Let's see. Discover a mech. Deal 1 damage to all enemy minions. Deal 3 damage. Discover a mech. And
Like this is a 4 for me. Like the Battlecry is so powerful.
yep.
Like
Agreed.
it's a Shaw that doesn't die for mechs, and that's really strong. So like maybe you play something like Beryllium Nullifier just for the effect, but
No, I think this is a 4, and I think we're gonna be entering a phase in Hearthstone now where every set is gonna have a hero card, and it's gonna be almost like Planeswalkers and Magic, that all of them will at least be decent at the very least, and some just be downright broken. I think this is the card that Control Warrior's been looking for. I think this is the card that Control Warrior's been looking for. There's just a lot of great things, and of course, if you're playing Mech Warrior, that's even better. So yeah, this is a solid 4.
actually
Yeah, I just don't
give me a 3. I don't think it's
Really?
Yeah, I think in a world where Shadowwalk Shaman and Malygos Druid are good, the Battlecry is like kind of not relevant that often.
I think this gets run in every single deck, regardless of whether or not it has mechs. Every single warrior except even warrior.
I'm
Like,
not playing this in Odd Warrior. Like the hero power, like the 4 armor hero power is better than the random one, I think,
Yeah.
for Odd Warrior.
Maybe Odd Warrior's the only other one. Like, Odd Warrior and Even Warrior, maybe I don't play it in, but a normal Control Warrior, even without mechs, I think good enough.
Yeah, you probably put this in Recruit. Like it seems strong in Recruit. I just don't think it's busted or it changes the meta away from something like Shudderwalk or Malygos Druid or something.
All right, so we're to the last warrior card and the last of the class cards. We finally have made it after 3 hours and 9 minutes.
Oof.
We're at the Boom ship. So this is a 9 mana legendary spell. Summon 3 random minions from your hand and give them rush. So We saw something very similar to this with the Hunter Legendary, but it's a little bit different. So, Ironfire, what's your thoughts on this one?
This is tough to evaluate. I feel like people keep talking about if you hit double charge Devil's Sword and Grom, then this is busted and you like kill your opponent immediately. But that's very rare, and that requires 4 cards to be in your hand that you haven't been able to play all game, and by that point you're probably dead. So I don't think this is a very good card. I'm not quite ready to give it a 1 just because it's such a unique and powerful effect. I'll give it a 2.
All right, Hockey?
I'm giving this a 3. I think it's really, really strong in Odd Warrior, and I have a soft spot for Odd Warrior.
I think this is the contingency plan for Recruit Warrior. I'm gonna give it a 3. I think there's enough here that, let's say you just happen to draw the minions and you don't have them in your deck, then this is just like summon 3 of them and give them rush immediately, or if they have charge already, that overrides it. So I like that. I think this is a 3.
Cool.
All right.
On
so we're
to
fine. Neutrals.
Yeah, Warrior was very whelming for me.
Yeah, it was a 2. Yeah, so it was about middle of the pack average overall for everything here. So, all right.
Let's rush through the neutrals.
All right, so,
pun intended.
Yeah.
Yep, sounds good. So, all right, so we're gonna start off with Skaterbot. 1 mana, 1/1. Magnetic Rush.
Terrible.
1.
1.
Cool.
All right.
Let's keep going.
Crystallizer. Battlecry. Deal 5 damage to your hero. Gain 5 armor. There's got to be some. Like, this is 3. There's got to be something here with this, right? A lot of potential ways to set this up.
It's a better Dire Mole in everything but Hunter. I'll give it a 3.
Mm-hmm. Yep, me too.
All right. Faithful
Especially
Lemmy.
Warrior and Warlock. Those are great. Good synergies there.
Yeah.
Faithful Lemmy, yes.
Yeah, Faithful Lemmy. Battlecry. Give a friendly mech 1/1/1. 1/1. I guess if the mech deck is something that you want to buff, then sure. But you're not ever going to play this on turn 1.
I'd rather just play magnetic minions.
Yep, agreed.
I don't think it's particularly strong.
It's a 1.
I think it's a 1.
All right.
I'm going to give it a 2.
2.
I don't think there are many 2 mana mech. Could be wrong. When I evaluated this initially, I gave it a 2. I haven't reevaluated.
All right, so we move on to Mecharoo.
Wait, what did you give it, Force? 1?
Oh, 1.
Okay.
All right, Mecharoo is a 1 mana 1/1 that has a death rattle summon a 1/1 Joey bot. Joe-E bot. Anyway. I mean, technically, we played cards like this before, haven't we? We've played what's the Warlock card?
Possessed Villager.
Yeah. Possessed Villager.
Yeah,
it's a good card.
It's a good card. It's 3, right?
It's only good in mech decks, though. It's worse than Argent Squire in non-mech decks, but I still think it's a 3 because it goes in every mech deck.
Yeah. All of us are in agreement.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Goblin Bomb. O2 Death Rattle. Deal 2 damage to the for 1 mana.
It's a 1.
It's a 1, yeah. It's good to get it off of other things, but definitely not by itself.
I'm gonna. Actually, I forgot because of the existence of Mecharoo. I'll give it a 1. It might be a 2, but I'll give it. I'm gonna give it a 2. It has Hunter synergies.
You need other cards to make this worthwhile. At least with the other Hunter cards that summon Goblin Bombs, like you have something else to do with it. Like this.
Yeah, but like.
It's just a bad leper gnome.
This on 1 into the buff a mech +1/+1 and trigger its death rattle on 2. It's a pretty good curve. I think it has some potential.
All right.
Anyway,
so I think we're going to... Yeah, upgradable frame bot. So 2 mana, 1/5 with just the mech frame on it. Or mech tag on it.
Yeah,
I mean, in a mech deck, this has got to be a 4, right? This has got to be a 4 in a mech deck.
It's a 3 for me in a mech deck, only because there's only one magnetic neutral mech, and there's only one class neutral magnetic mech, so you kind of have to wait another turn for it to be upgraded, and at that point they can kill it, and it screws up stuff like the Paladin legendary spell. I think it's good in mech decks, don't get me wrong, I just don't think it's insanely powerful.
But you can hold it. You can hold it until, you need it, right? Maybe.
I don't know. I'm also going to give it a 3. It sticks around for magnetic upgrades, but it's a bad stat line, kind of. it's an ish stat line.
Okay, yeah, y'all convinced me. This is 3. Yeah, I'm gonna back off on this. So
You might be right.
all right. So 2, or next one is 2 mana Warley Glider. It's a 2/1, but it summons a O2 Goblin Bomb. So it's actually a 2/3 worth of stats here. So
1.
Yeah,
One.
this is bad.
yeah, 1. All right. So Cloak Scale Chemist, 2 mana, 1/2 Stealth Divine Shield, but not a mech.
Why?
Why? Yeah, exactly.
Why print this? Why run it? Why even think of it? Why these 2 card texts together? Why the attack and health cost? Just why?
Yeah, no, agreed. I think this is a 1.
Do you know where you would play?
What is this against Stealth and Divine Shield? Yeah, that's just really weird. I'm gonna give me it. Maybe their Stealth is strong.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at a 1.
Good.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 1.
Alright, Galvanizer.
So 2 mana, 1/2 reduces the cost of mechs in your hand by 1. So we've seen cards like this before with the elementals. That was a 2 mana 1/1. Reduce the cost of your elementals by 1.
So I really like first glance and thinking about it was I gave it a 1 and I thought this was really bad and you're not going to see it. But like at the pre-release, I know they weren't playing actual decks, but like Galvanizer is actually really good at the pre-release. I think I'd bump it up to a 2 and say it's potential if you're running like a mech deck that wants to flood.
Yeah, I sort of like it at 2, I think.
Me too. If it hits 3 or 4 mechs, it's like worth its cost.
All right, so we're 2 underpowered Mauler, 2 mana, 2/4 mech. Can only attack if you cast a spell this turn. This is a 1, right?
You can silence it with the pre-spell to make it attack.
Okay, but I mean, you could also do a 3 mana 5/8 and do the same thing, or 4/8 and do the same thing.
I'm giving this one a 1.
Yeah, I think it's a 1.
Oh yeah, it's an easy one.
All right,
Okay,
cool.
Great.
All right, so Toxicologist, Battlecry, give your weapon +1 attacks, 2 mana 2/2. I mean, I guess if Kingsbane Rogue is a thing, maybe.
Yeah, it auto slots into Kingsbane Rogue. I'm giving it a 2.
I'm giving it a 2
Yeah.
because of that. It also
2,
goes
yeah.
into the Alaneth Pocket Luna Toggawaggle Mage to kill off your weapon.
To destroy your ally.
To destroy your Alaneth.
Mm-hmm.
I have never heard that combination before. All right, Spark Engine, 2 mana, 2/1 Battlecry.
Of course,
At
did
a
you also give that a 2?
Huh?
Did you
Oh yeah,
also
I gave
give
it.
that a 2?
Yeah, I gave it a 2
Cool.
as well. Yes.
Cool.
Whoa. Okay, Tri said in chat, Toxicologist is nuts with Candle Shot, and I think it actually is nuts with Candle Shot.
Oh,
Like, this
right,
is
I
like
forgot about
really good with Candle Shot.
that. Oh,
Is it
you are
enough to
absolutely
bump it up? Like
So
would you play this in Hunter if you ran 4 weapons? Because it's really bad if you don't have a weapon, but it's like
What else?
insane if.
No,
I don't think
you gotta
so.
have
No.
stuff. It depends on the meta. Very meta dependent. Against Odd Paladin, the 1 attack does nothing.
I think it being in Hunter doesn't even
Against
bump it up
2
to a
threes.
3 from a 2, but like
I don't think so either.
no, probably not. But I still think it. I'm gonna test it in Hunter because it is nuts with Candle Shot, and it is also really good with Eaglehorn Bow.
Oh, you're right. Okay, so yeah, I'm still gonna leave it as a 2, but it definitely could be nuts with
It'll
the
go in
weapon
decks for
classes.
sure.
All right, next is Spark Engine.
Spark Engine. So Battlecry, add a 1/1 Spark with rush to your hand, but not on the battlefield. I think this is a 1.
Boy, this is so bad.
Yeah, it's the one.
Right?
Spring Rocket, 3 mana, 2/1 Battlecry, deal 2 damage.
1.
There are better things with better bodies that can do that.
Awful.
Yeah, it's a 1. It's terrible.
Across.
Electrolyte.
Battlecry. It's a 3 mana 3/3 Battlecry. If you're holding a spell that costs 5 or more, gain +1/+1. I mean, I guess theoretically you could build a deck like a big spell, something or another, that would make this a 4/4 right from the get go, right?
Yeah, but they don't
Like,
want to play a 3 mana 4/4.
That's not even good enough.
No.
So bad.
Yeah.
Bad. It's a 1.
If it had taunt, it would be good in Big Spell Mage, but nope.
All right, so we are to Augmented Elec. It's a 3 mana 3/4 beast. When you shuffle a card into your deck, shuffle an extra copy. Talked about Rogue has a few mechanisms now to shuffle cards into decks, and from what I understand, at least someone maybe correct me on this if I'm wrong. It counts each time. So if you shuffle 3 copies of a deck card into your deck, it shuffles 6.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Every single time.
I still think it's bad.
I'm gonna give it a 2 then.
I could potentially see this being curve this augmented elite because 3/4 is not the worst body for 3.
Into dire frenzy.
Into Feldori Strider.
Oh, what if we just build Fatigue Hunter now?
Dude, it can happen.
It
Yeah.
could happen.
Frenzy's like,
Well, I was thinking just Feldori Strider. It's just
I
like
think it's
all
too
right.
slow to combo with Feldori Shire. I think you'd rather just play Shadow Step because Shadow Step has more. It's just more useful with the rest of your cards. I'm giving it a 1. I don't think it's good at all.
I'm gonna give it a 2. There's something there. I don't know what it is yet, but there's something there. So,
I'm going to be wrong, and Fatigue Hunter is going to be the best deck of all time with Dire Frenzy. Because you Dire Frenzy this, and then you have more on the board that you Dire Frenzy.
oof.
all
Okay,
right.
Kaboom Bot. What do you
Kaboombot. Death Rattle. 3 mana 2/2 Death Rattle. Deal 4 damage to a random enemy minion. Yeah, I think that's a 1.
It's a 1 because it does on Magnetic. It'd be really good if it had Magnetic.
Was it a Death Rattle? Deal
It's
4
a Death Rattle, yeah.
Death Rattle.
Maybe it could slot into Death Rattle Hunter with the Poisonous. Trigger the Death Rattle that poisons an enemy and kills.
Possibly.
Probably not. I'm still getting it a 1. Brainstormer.
Brainstormer. And this does not do what I expect a Brainstormer to do. Battlecry. Gain +1 health for each spell in your hand. It's a 1.
Awful.
Bad.
Awful card.
Yeah.
Really
Only-
bad.
This is
You,
the only card
you know
ever-
what? You know what deck plays lots of spells? Big Priest.
Still.
1.
No. 1. This may be the first time ever that a card has the word brainstorm on it, and it is terrible. Microtech Controller. As a 3 mana 2/1, summon 2 1/1 microbots.
1.
1.
1. Alright. Bronze Gatekeeper. 3 mana 1/5 magnetic taunt.
2.
It's a 2.
It's a 2. Yeah, it's not terrible.
I
It's actually
think
not the worst.
if you play it, you're playing it out of necessity because there aren't other 3 mana magnetics. Because, like,
Mhm.
if you don't have a mech, this card's really bad.
Yeah.
And if you have a mech, it's
Alright.
alright. Like, it's
Alright.
insane against aggro, though, if they don't have silence.
Mhm.
So, moving on, Omega Defender.
Yeah,
4
this is
mana,
a-
2/6 taunt, Battlecry. If you have 10 mana crystals, gain +10 attack. This is a 1.
Yep.
1. Yep. Alright, so Coppertail Imposter is 4 mana 4/4 Battlecry, gains stealth until your next turn. This
This is juicy.
This is a 4.
is juicy.
This is
Yeah.
an easy 4.
Oh, I'm giving it a 3.
This card's
That's a 3.
insane.
Is it a 4?
Because I think so I think War Gear is a 4, the 5 mana
Yeah.
5/5 that gives magnetic, and this also breaks Shutterwalk Shaman. Like, this is insane in Shutterwalk.
I don't think it breaks Shutterwalk.
You don't need to play
No.
Grumble, or you don't need to play Chain Gang or Grumble before you play Shutterwalk with this.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Still.
You do against a priest. You do against.
Well, yeah, you do against some
mage,
classes,
you
obviously,
do against,
but like some, you just drop like the Shutterwalk, you get stealth, and you just Grumble the next turn, and then you just kill them with that.
I think the classes where you would hold back your Shutterwalk are the ones where you would still hold it back even if you got stealth. Anyway, I'm giving it a 3. It's good. It's really good.
Yeah,
What are you
I
giving
like
it,
this.
Force?
I give it a 3. That's a strong effect and a relatively good body, actually.
Also, the card art is
4/4.
sick. I love the card art. The squirrels.
Yes. Alright, so here's an easy one. 4 mana Steel Ranger. Rush.
Hey.
5/1 mech.
It has Rager in the name. Let's all give it a 1 and move on.
Yes,
I have to say it is the best Rager they've printed, though.
Yeah.
But it's still bad. Replicating
Alright.
Menace. 4
Oh, I
mana,
just looked at the
3/1
Coppertail Imposter.
mech, magnetic, death rattle, summon 3 1/1 microbots. I'm giving this a 2. I think it's actually kind of okay.
I mean, yeah, it's not the worst magnetic we've seen. So yeah, I can roll with a 2. That it replaces itself basically and gives you 3 more mechs to start doing stuff too.
Yeah, and
Yep.
more attack is better than more health on magnetic because magnetic is kind of like rush.
Yep.
Or
Yeah,
charge.
I also gave it a 2.
I think
Alright,
it's
A lot of
potential.
the same
Yeah.
reason.
Harbinger
4.
Celestial.
Stealth. After your opponent plays a minion, become a copy of it. So this is going to be the creature that's going to be something with 1 health and then kill it through the stealth.
No,
essentially.
it loses stealth when it
No,
transforms.
It loses stealth.
It's
Oh,
you're
that's
playing
why.
a 4 mana
That's a
fire
hard one.
elemental. That's what it is. It's a 4 mana fire elemental. Not even a
Nope,
firefly.
pass.
It's an easy
Pass.
one.
Firefly. Yeah.
One,
1,
one.
1, 1, all around. Let's keep going.
Alright,
Explodinator.
Explodinator. Yep.
4 mana,
So-
3/2 mech, Battlecry, summon 2/0/2 Goblin Bombs. The name is sick, and I think it's a good card, and I'm giving it a 3. I think it's strong.
A 3, interesting. I was gonna give it a 2.
Actually, I like 3 because this is 3 creatures and 3 things to potentially hook magnetic 2 for 4 mana. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll roll a 3.
You hit Magnetic, and you also hit Fungal Mancer. So they need to have a way to deal 6 on board to kill everything. Or if they're bad, they just don't kill it, and then you get them the next turn.
Yep.
And War Gear curves into this very nicely as well.
Yes.
Yes. So we are to
Whizband.
Whizband.
the Wonderful. Whizband the Wonderful. Yeah, the ACT has already said no to this card. So 4 mana, 4/5. You start the game with one of Whizbang's wonderful decks. Yo, in terms of the quality of the card, it's a 1, but you're gonna see this shit everywhere, so it's gonna be a 4.
It's a 4 in terms of design, 1 in terms of actual
Playability. Yeah.
How much of a legend do you think I'll be on Reddit if I brought 4 Whizbang decks to playoffs?
You can't.
You're not allowed.
Well, no,
You're
they'll
not
be
allowed
like,
to-
oh, he can't play because he brought 4 Whizbang decks to playoffs, and then they'll skyrocket to the top of Reddit.
Yeah, I think the thing that's going to skyrocket to Reddit before that is going to be someone is going to hit legend with a Whizbang the Wonderful deck.
Well,
Like,
some guy
they're
said
just
he
gonna
would
play
give
it.
them $100 if they do that from 5 to legend, and that's not that hard.
Yeah,
It's
no,
definitely doable. Someone's gonna do it, but like it's a bad
someone
card.
definitely- yeah.
It's a terrible card.
It's a bad card. It's one that I won't play, but you're going to see a shit ton of it though.
Oh, you're not even gonna see it.
Well, you will because they'll do the little graphic thing ahead of time. So
There is no there's no graphic thing.
graphic.
There's no graphic thing. You don't know they're playing a Whizbang deck.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
That would make it worse on ladder. No one knows.
You're just playing a random deck recipe, and they just see like a random mage.
Oh, I thought Whizbang replaces your hero and your hero.
It
power.
does, but in
Whatever
game, if your opponent's playing Whizbang, you don't see that they're playing Whizbang. You just see that they're playing like one of the 9 classes
It replaces it in the deck select screen, but not
in game.
Yeah, you're just playing a deck.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it's still going to see a lot of play, but that doesn't mean it's good.
It's wonderfully
one on-
bad.
It's an
It's
awesome
one on
card
play.
for new players. Like I
It
love
is.
that they printed this card. And
Yes.
it's a one. Let's keep
All
going.
right.
All right.
So we're up to 2 very interesting 4 mana minions. First, we have Weaponized Pinata. Death Rattle, add a random legendary minion to your hand.
Terrible.
1.
1. All right. So how about this one? Piloted Reaper. So this is a 4 mana mech. Death Rattle, summon a random minion from your hand that costs 2 or less.
1. This is terrible.
2.
Oh, I think it's garbage.
I think this is 2.
Piloted Shredder was good because it always 2 for 1 because you had 2 minions, and this one just 2 for 2s. Like you're not getting any card advantage from this, and a 4/3 body isn't that good.
You're not getting card advantage, but you're getting the same. You're getting
Fact.
tempo-ish. Like if you can run the 2 mana paladin spell that draws 2 1-attack minions from your hand, those are like 2 cost. Curves pretty nicely into Piloted Reaper. I think there's some potential. It's not the worst card I've ever seen.
No, it's like, yeah. And I think, again, you can set it up to potentially be, pull something nice from your hand. So I like this one. I like it as a 2. It's not great, but it's...
I don't think it's the worst card ever, but I just don't think it sees play because it's not very good.
No, I don't think it does either.
Yeah. All right, so we're to
But I can-
the 5 mana card Zillax. So this is a 3/2 mech with Magnetic, Divine Shield, Taunt, Lifesteal, Rush.
This card's really good. Like I'm giving it
Yeah,
a 4. I think it's as strong as War Gear.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a 3. I think if there are mech decks around, you're gonna want to include this card. I think.
I'm going to give it a 3, but I think this card is overrated. But it's hard to evaluate all the words on this card. So maybe it's a 4, maybe it's a 2. Let's see.
All right, so now we're just a big buff. So this is a 5 mana War Gear Magnetic 5/5.
What the heck? How does it only have 3 on the website for rating? This is a 4. It is like a top 5 strong card in this set.
I think it's a
Yeah.
3. I'm not ready to say it's going to be like the most insane card in the world, but it's going to be a strong card in the mech decks.
It's going to be insane.
Yeah.
I'm giving it a 4. 5/5 with charge is
Oh yeah, because
Crazy.
actually, you know what? I'm gonna change mine to a 4 because you're right. Blessing and Kings is 4/4, and you can't even play Blessing and Kings by itself. You can play this by itself, and it's still a respectable 5-mana 5/5.
Yep.
On a Goblin Bomb. Oof.
Yep. All right,
It
so
is silenceable though. It's a shame.
it is silenceable, yes, and then it just disappears. So, 5-mana Hollowmancer. After your opponent plays a minion, summon a 1/1 copy of it. I think this is a 1.
Oh, this guy's terrible. It's a 1. It's a mirror entity that they can play around easily.
Mm-hmm.
Loose Specimen.
Yep.
Ooh. Can I talk about this one?
Yeah.
Sure.
This is a 5-mana 6/6 beast. Battlecry deals 6 damage randomly split among other friendly minions. And I'm going to give this a 3 because of its applications in Mech Hunter. You want your bombs to die, and it's a beast. This card's awesome.
So if you play this on an empty board, it's just a 5-mana 6/6 that does nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that. 3. I like that.
Yeah, I'll give it a 3. I think it's also good in Egg Hunter if you're not running Katharina.
Yeah.
All right. So we have EM.
Yeah,
this card is super underrated.
Yeah. I haven't heard anyone talking about it, but I think it's great.
This might be the wait a minute, are we talking about Loose Specimen or EMP Operative?
Loose Specimen.
Oh yeah, EMP Operative sucks. Yeah. This is an easy one.
This might be the sleeper of the set. Yeah, because I heard people talking about it, but not much. But on an empty deck, empty board, that's just 5-mana 6/6. That's insane. All right, so EMP Operative, Battlecry, destroy a mech. At best, it's a 2. At best, it's a 2 for attack, right? It's a tech card.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 2 just for the tech potential.
It's not even good as a tech though. Like Galactic Crawler was good because if they didn't have pirates, you had a 2/3 for 2, which is like okay. This you have a 5-mana 3/3. Well, like if you want a tech for mechs, why aren't you just running Spellbreaker?
EGH is a 5-mana 4/2.
And that doesn't see play. That only saw play as a 3-mana card.
It has seen some very French play as a 5-mana.
Like I just don't think you're ever going to see this card.
Yeah, I almost certainly never. But I'm gonna hedge my bet and say 2. What do you think, Force?
It's a 2, I think. It's that's basically the tech card spot. Is if you know your opponent's bringing a bunch of mech decks, then yeah, roll with it. So we are to Sephorium Bomber. So this is 5-mana 5/5. Shuffle bomb into your opponent's deck. When draw, it explodes for 5 damage. This seems like just all upside. It's a 5-mana 5/5, which is reasonable. And sometime during the game, potentially, you could draw, your opponent could just be hit for 5 out of nowhere.
The keyword you used was reasonable, and cards that are reasonable don't see play. In Constructed, I'm giving it a 1.
Me too. There was a card very similar to this in Warrior that used to shuffle a 10 damage spell into your opponent's deck, and that never saw play.
Okay, good point.
But
all right, yeah, I'll win this one.
Now, if the bomb stops their draw, that would be insane, but it doesn't.
But they still do get their draw.
Like, imagine if it stopped their draw, then like every deck would play it.
Oh yeah, you're right. But all those effects always have just draw the next card for that too. Yeah. So, all right, so we're to Giggling Inventor. So this is a 5-mana 2/1 that summons 2 Annoyatrons. Sure, they say 2/1/2 mechs with Taunt and Divine Shield, but it's Annoyatrons. So 2 Annoyatrons plus a 2/1 for 5 mana. How does that stack up?
We should let Hockey start with this.
Yes.
Yeah, I like this. It's a 4. I think it's crazy good. Like you just get so much board. It curves and like you can play Fungal Mancer after. You can play Magnetics onto it after. It's just a really, really good board control card.
All right. Do you agree?
I'm not as high as this on this card as Hockey is, but I'm gonna give it a 3. It's good.
Yeah, I think it's a solid 3. The only thing that really holds this card back is Defile basically wrecks you. Like just 2-mana Defile, if you bump into one of the minions, just completely wrecks your entire board. So that's my only downside to it, but yeah, otherwise it's a 3. Subject 9. So this is a 5-mana legendary beast that says it's a 4/4 and it says draw 5 different secrets from your deck. Do you even want this even if you were playing a deck with a bunch of secrets? Do you really want this?
Yeah. If you're Hunter, you want this. I think it's a 3. I think it's strong. It's like Azure Drake on steroids if you draw like 2 or 3 secrets.
Yep, I'm same thing, 3. 5-mana 4/4 is bad, but 5-mana 4/4 draw 1 card was so good it got rotated to the Same. If this could draw 5, I think it's
Okay. All right. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah. In yours. But of course, really, yeah. In any of the 100 decks that's running the Spellstone, yeah, I guess this is reasonable. So yeah, I'll give it a 3.
You were about to give it a 1, weren't you?
I was about to give
Yeah.
it. I was about to give it a 2.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna go down to 1, but
Okay.
yeah, drawing 5 cards is always strong. But yeah.
I'm like borderline 4 on that one. That one's really good.
Next we have Wally. It's a 5-mana 2/6 mech with taunt and lifesteal.
You know what? I sort of like this. It's like we used to play in Taunt Warrior a 5-mana 2/7 that gave us 2 armor, and this is a 2/6 that gives us life.
Armor is a lot stronger than health, though.
Oh, it is. It is.
And the health makes a big difference, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a 2. I'm not ready to say this is a 3 necessarily, but I think this could be a role player.
I think it's a 1.
Yeah, I think it's a 1 as well. Yeah, it's like 1 borderline 2, but 1. Oh.
All right, so we have damage taken on. So this is a 6-mana 5/12 that is a mech taunt, but it has a Battlecry. Deal 6 damage to this minion. So
1.
It's a 1. Yeah, unless there's some way to pull this.
Oh,
out
yeah, okay. Actually, I'm giving it a 2.
Yeah, me too. Just because, like, the Grizzly can get pulled out and
It's
be this.
even Warrior right now plays Gem-Studded Golem, and this is a better card than Gem-Studded Golem.
Fair enough.
You get it from Gather the Party and stuff.
I like 2 for this. Okay, so here's the one that we talked about earlier. So this is Missile Launcher. So this is a 6-mana 4/4 mech, magnetic. At the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to all other creatures. So it's sort of like the demon in Zulak that deals 1 damage to all your enemy minions, but this is all of them.
Yeah, but it's so much more expensive and
Yeah, it's a 1.
Even. If it were not for the poisonous combo, I'm gonna give it a 2. I have faith.
Wait. Oh, wait. This kills off your bombs too, right? With the poisonous combo.
It does. I know. It's really... It can actually, I think, maybe slot into... So I'm giving it a 2. I think it could actually be decent.
Dang, your Hunter mech deck's gonna start running like 45, 50 cards now.
I think so. I think it can fit 50
It's
cards.
still a 1 for me.
Yeah, I'll throw it to a 2 because the effect is strong, but it's not insane. So, we are to Arcane Dynamo. This is 6-mana 3/4, terrible body. It does have Battlecry Discover spell that costs 5 or more.
Terrible.
I'm giving it a 2. This is how you play the spells in Even, Shaman. You give up 1 turn of tempo for a 90% chance of getting Bloodlust or the legendary spell. And I don't know if that's worth it, but I'm gonna try it, and I think it has potential to be good.
And see, and Druid, that would be UI. It could be,
There is a lot in Druid though. It could be UI, it could be Nourish, it could be Starfall, Starfire, Spreading Plague. Like, it's okay, but like Druid has better cards than this.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 2. It's like just for the potential, since the Discover does seem to favors that class over. But I guess
it only discovers class. It only discovers your class spells.
All right, so we are to Spark Drill. So this is a 6-mana 5/1 mech with Rush, Death Rattle. Add 2 1/1 sparks to your hand. I think we already talked about adding sparks to your hand versus adding them to the field, and I think we're very low on that.
Very hard one.
Yeah, this is.
It's a 1.
I would say this is contention for worst card in the set.
Yep.
Like, if it was magnetic, that'd be okay. Like, I thought I had magnetic originally. I was like, oh, this is okay. And then it's like, oh, no, that's Rush, not magnetic.
Yep. All right, so we are to Mechanical Whelp, 6-mana, Death Rattle, or 6-mana 2/2 mech, Death Rattle, summon a 7/7 Mechanical Dragon. I think that sounds like a terrible stat line.
I'm giving it I want to give like a 2.5. I'll give it a 2. It's good in Mech Warrior with Dr. Boom. Like, it's really good in Dr. Boom.
I'm also giving it a 2.
Yeah, I'll give it a 2. I guess it's like, not the worst thing, I guess, but
It's 9/9 with Rush, right? With Dr. Boom.
Sure. Actually, yeah, correct. Yeah, you kill off the 2/2, and then you get 7 more. So okay, I can see that. Star Liner. So this is a 7-mana 7/7 that is Battlecry. If you control 3 minions with 7 health, so It's not 7 or more health. It has to be exactly 7 health. 7
Yeah.
health. To steal 7. Okay, so this is a 1. Deal 7.
Yeah.
No, I'm giving it a 7. I should give it a 1 because it screws up the averages.
Yeah, I know.
But I just want to say that they ruined the meme, and this should have been if you control 7 minions with 7 health, deal 7 damage to all enemies. It should have been, and it would see just the same amount of play.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. All right, so we're to Bulldozer. So this is a 9 mana, 9/7 mech, Divine Shield.
Bad.
1.
Bad. Yeah. Yeah. 1 mana. This is a 1.
One's all around.
Yeah.
Great.
All right, so we're to the final card, and it is Mecha Cthulhu. So if Death Rattle, if you have no cards in your deck, hand and battlefield, destroy the enemy hero. It's a 1, but I so want to see someone pull this off. I just want to see someone pull it off.
I'm giving it a 2. It has potential.
I so badly want to give it a 2.
I like this in Miracle Druid. You play this with Floop and Auctioneer, and it's like really good if you can dump your hand.
I just can't even. I've been high on a lot of cards here, saying they have potential, but I'm giving this a 1.
Give it a 3. Give it a 3. Give it a 3.
You're giving it a 3.
I'm giving it a 3. I think that.
Okay, whatever. I'm giving it the 2 then.
I think Cthulhu Druid's gonna be like actually decent.
No way.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it is. I think it's gonna be a better version of Togwaggle.
Is this the next Togwaggle where everyone?
No, it's gonna be better than Togwaggle.
You know who wants to see this card come up? Dr. Boom, the Warrior Legendary. When you have like you're in fatigue, you have no cards in deck, no cards in hand. You hit the Discover, and it's just like, oh, it's Mecha Cthulhu. Like,
Yeah, but then you
Toss
need
it
them to
down.
have a Deathwing or something on the board. I do think that that Mecha Cthulhu Druid's gonna be like the second best Druid archetype.
What about Warlock? Because I think the one that I've heard the most talk about is play this when you have an empty deck, then cast Cataclysm that discards your hand and blows up all the creatures, and then subsequently would also blow up your opponent. That's the other way I've heard about this. Is like
the hardest part about the condition is not having anything in your hand. So Warlock lets you complete that easily, but then you have to play like stuff like Galvanizer, and I don't know if they have enough sustain to survive the whole game. Like Druid just draws so many cards and it has so much life gain that I think it's like possible for them to do that, and I think it could be a strong deck.
Oh yes, thank you, Jackloss. Yes, it's Mechathune, not Mechacathune. Yeah, it's Mechathune.
Yes, that's right.
It's Mechathune, not Mechacathune.
Although
So-
I'm really upset that they didn't just call it Kaboom.
Kaboom.
Yeah, that would have been great. C apostrophe boom.
Kaboom-thune? No.
No, just C apostrophe boom.
Yeah. Well, that's all the.
That's it. We got through all 135 cards. We did it.
What a slog.
Yep.
Hockey Boys is the German judge, or whichever judge it is that in the stereotype gives lower ratings to cards. Average is a 1.83, so he gave more 1s than anything else.
Yep. And we're right at 2. So
The average for all of us is 1.98.
that sounds about right. Because I mean, let's be honest. Even looking with a set, as exciting as a set as this is, there's going to be a lot of filler that's not going to see play.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of ones. Yeah.
If half the cards have potential, it's a strong set. It's really good.
We gave lots of class cards twos though.
We did.
Yeah.
And we gave a lot of neutrals 1. A lot of neutrals are 1.
But yeah, I do think Mecha Cthulhu's going to be a real deck in Druid, and look forward to seeing me go 0-3 drop with it in playoffs.
Oh no. All right.
So I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know. Speaking of Whizbang, I don't know if the league has actually made a decision. I think we said we were going to do whatever HCT did.
They haven't made a
Whizbang. So
decision yet.
If they ban it, then actually I saw something today that they said Whizbang is banned.
Hockey, I think we should count up. Once we declare our playoffs decks, we should count up the average score that each of us gave the cards we put in our own decks.
That's a good
that are
idea.
from Boomsday.
I want to do
and
this.
see which one of us has the higher score.
All right.
All right.
I'm just gonna play all mech decks so I win. We rated mechs real high.
And then you just like lose out in the playoff. But you're like, yes, I won the bet. Fire.
So I hope Mechathune is playable. I really do. I want to see some crazy deck out of that. But yeah, no, yeah, y'all should definitely do for the summer playoffs. Y'all need to see who threw the most cards in that they said were bad.
Yeah, we'll do.
Anyway, all right, so I think we're ready to get out of here. We've been here for almost 4 hours, so
yeah, it's been a long stream.
So anyway, so Hockey, Iron Fire, thanks for being here.
It was a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Force.
All right, and I will make some announcement on Sunday afternoon, but next week we have a very full week. I'll go ahead and tell you we have the Ragnaros All-Star Game on Thursday, Sylvanas All-Star Game on Friday, and we're going to have the Boomsday Project Tournament on Saturday and Sunday. So more information to come. Check Discord, check Facebook, check everything else, as more information will be coming soon. So, but until next week, bye everybody.
Bye.
Take care.